After hundreds of heroes from other worlds were summoned to fight the darkness and its powerful army of demons, this young man was rejected as a hero and left in another world, abandoned in the farthest corners of the kingdom by a cruel king who only wanted to be rid of him. The fate of this hero seems very bleak, but what will happen when he discovers that he has a hidden supernatural power that manifests later? The episode begins when this hero is summoned to this world as candidate number 98. They say, "Welcome, Hero Banaza, to our magical land of Krayrod. Please come here." He asks where he is and what this place exactly is. "Where am I? I was in the loading area. What is my purpose? What is my job?" This girl speaks to him and says, "Sir Banaza, the other candidate hero, will be summoned soon. Come here quickly." He asks who this other person is and she tells him, "I will show you how to measure your power using the crystal ball." He is surprised to find that he has a power and says to her, "There is something wrong in this place. Despite you saying that I am a huge candidate, I am just an assistant." She tells him, "You may not know that there is a hidden power within you. Come and take a look at our land, Krayrod." Then she asks him what kind of country he lived in, because our country is in a completely different world altogether. After all, he opens the window and sees the beauty of this country. He marvels and says, "I have never heard of a country known by this name. I wonder if it is trading relations with another country or what." Then he says to himself, "It seems that I am in a different world from the one I was in." Then this girl speaks and says because of the long battles against the army of demons, the kingdom was on the verge of collapse and everything was about to bow down to it. So our city decided to summon heroes from a different world. These heroes are capable of defeating the Demon King and resisting the invasion. He says to her, "I really don't know about that, but isn't it better to appoint someone strong as a hero only from this country?" After that, he enters this room, the room where all the wizards are gathered, surrounded by the crystal ball. The girl says those who have been brought to this world from another world are given blessings from heaven and are granted skills that no one else can obtain. Then she tells him, "This is the way from here." And indeed, he stands before this crystal. Then afterward, the magical crystal begins to glow, revealing that his power is very weak. Energy 9, Defense 8, Ability 6, Magical Strength 1, and he has no supernatural abilities. The girl is shocked and says to him, "You don't possess life force or any supernatural power. These are abilities of an average adult male, and you don't have any extraordinary abilities." Then Banaza speaks and says, "This is true. I told you I'm just a merchant." The wizards around them consider this a great failure and demand to return this failure to his world immediately. "We must search again for a suitable hero," they say. However, the other says to him, "The transport gate has already been closed." Then we see this servant girl who says, "A legendary man similar to you, with powers exceeding 999 in magic, energy, and physical strength, has appeared. He seems a bit arrogant, and he says he was chosen to save the world. People flock around him saying, 'You are truly our hero. Please wait, save us. We will be saved by this hero. We were told that the hero will save us all.' Then the king announces that this hero with blonde hair is the chosen warrior. Everyone starts celebrating, ignoring the other young man. He wonders what they are doing, so everyone starts ignoring him, saying it's a feast, and they give him a drink. Then he goes to the girl he met earlier and asks her what will happen. 'Do you remember me? I was chosen as the candidate hero.' She is shocked to see him and says, 'So why are you still in this world?' He tells her, 'No one told me how to return.' She then explains that it's very difficult to summon a candidate hero if the gate is closed, and it's highly unlikely that the gate will open again for him to return to his original world. Banaza is shocked by this and says, 'Impossible. If I can't return.' Then he talks to the king about the issue of the unqualified candidate hero. The king admits that failing to return him to his world was a grave mistake and orders him to be expelled from the country. While in the carriage, he recalls the king's words, apologizing on behalf of the entire state of Krayrod, saying, 'Stay in the Delaves forest in the north. I will give you a special permit to live in this world.' After that, we see him in the carriage talking to the carriage driver. But the driver tells him, 'Sorry, I've been told not to speak with you. However, at this time, it's hard not to talk. Please?' Then he asks who he is, and the driver tells him that it's his job. Banaza is surprised because there were no lower species than humans he could interact with in his world. Other species were classified as slaves. The driver says, 'We're not slaves, but this is my job.' Banaza realizes, 'Indeed, I came from a different world.' Then we see Banaza before being summoned to another world, and his friend asks him, 'Is this all your luggage?' It seems they are in a loading area, and he talks to the man, who says there might be 45 additional boxes depending on negotiation. The man asks him to wait a little while they prepare breakfast. Then we see people around Banaza amazed, saying this man is giving money to non-humans. He should have given it to his ally. These individuals might start thinking that they will be given money as well. Then we see Banaza's friend, who's not human, telling him, I am part of the demon tribe. You are not obligated to pay us. Then he gives him the money again, but Banaza tells him, you wait until you trade with me. If I don't pay you, this will leave a bad feeling. Then this girl comes and says, please agree, Sir Banaza. If he decides to do something, he won't stop until it's done. Then we see different species rejoicing over what Banaza did, saying, we will all follow Mr. Banaza. They are pleased with him. Then Banaza speaks to the girl named Quinn and says, you saved me. She replies, I always help you, don't I? But we see humans around him, upset about what Banaza is doing because he treats other species well. Banaza thinks to himself, I wonder if there is a world without discrimination between humans and other species. Then we see Quinn saying, there are a few people in the kingdom who say that. People don't want others to invest in anything. Banaza says, I don't think it's strange. You have friends of different kinds. Then a strong glow appears and Banaza disappears from this world, astonishing Quinn because she doesn't see him anymore. We return to the present time and Banaza has arrived in this forest. The carriage driver tells him, my orders are to bring you here. This is the Delaves forest. Banaza says to him, it was a pleasant 20-day journey with you. Thank you. The carriage driver warns him about rumors of demons lurking around this area and advises him to be careful. Then he leaves in the carriage. Banaza thinks to himself there hasn't been any village or even a person in sight for 20 days of travel. They gave me one magical bag as an apology. Does this bag contain a treasure? I don't know. Let's see what's inside. He opens it and finds 100,000 metal coins, a house, 20 sets of clothes, 8 sets of weapons, and 3 sets of agricultural tools. Banaza realizes he can build a house now and won't worry about food and shelter for some time. He takes out the sword and says, this sword seems very exquisite for fighting the demon army. Then a wild beast appears attacking him. Banaza cuts it into pieces, but when he does, his sword breaks. It seems Banaza's level has increased, and an infinity sign appears with each of Banaza's skills. Banaza wonders about it and says, what is this sign? What does it mean? When I was at the palace, my stats were very low. Maybe I couldn't read all the characters in their language. Banaza seems unaware that this infinity sign means his abilities have increased unbelievably. Then he is surprised to hear a voice that says to him, the special abilities of skills will now activate. He marvels at having gained very powerful abilities and says, with so many abilities, I won't be able to remember them all. Then he receives a warning from the system about discovering hidden magic, a magic that attracts nearby monsters. He realizes he can cancel this monster attracting magic, so he deletes this technique. After that, he begins to search for a living area and realizes that this forest is contaminated with dangerous magic. A message appears asking him if he wants to purify this magic and cleanse the forest. He responds, all right, if I can do it, I'll do it. I wonder how much magical power I have left, as I must live here. Then he notices that the forest has indeed started to purify and rid itself of the magic. After that, in the palace, the king's daughter comes to him and says, even if he's not useful, this is very cruel, father. Why did you banish the other hero? She explains to him that the forest is the demon's habitat, their base for creating their soldiers, and that he told him to live there. Banaza says, this is more than necessary for us too, especially for him to fight the demon army, especially since he's a failed hero. Then news comes to him from one of his followers that the highest sacred magic has been summoned and activated. The king says, so the blonde hero has managed to do it after leaving and starting his training. He managed to perform the highest sacred skill, which takes 100 years of talent. This is definitely his right to be recognized as the hero. But the servant tells him that the sacred magic didn't come from him, but from the south, where the hero was headed. They spotted him from the forest, and the blonde hero hadn't reached there yet, so they are surprised by this. After that, we learn that the purification magic is the highest level of magic for cleansing black magic cells that affect human bodies. It can destroy the demons' bodies from the inside. It's usually used by gathering all the kingdom's sorcerers together. It's the ultimate magical weapon. Then we see Banaza on the opposite side of the forest, saying the forest has become calm. He wonders how to check what's left of his mana using the purification magic. He thinks his magical power has decreased, but he's surprised when his magical power and stats return to what they were before. It seems he has reached level 367 and his magical powers are still infinite. He wonders why his level is increasing only from using magic and why the strange symbol hasn't changed. It seems the statistics screen is disabled. But he remembers the words of the palace servant saying that she mentioned that my stats screen shows an average magic level. I believe my magical power is very low, to the point that the screen displays it incorrectly, and it's annoying not to show it. After that, he turns off the notifications and says, I hope there are no serious damages. He is also informed by the screen that the forest has become pure because of his magic, and purification is complete. He's not allowed to live in the city because if he goes there, they'll kill him if they see him enter and leave the castle. Then he receives a notification that he can use transformation magic to change his appearance. He begins to transform into a woman, but he reverts to himself as he was before and says, even if I enter and leave the city, no one will notice that I'm Beneza. Then he says, the problem now is the distance to the city. I'll need 20 days by carriage. But at this moment, he receives a notification asking if he wants to move to the castle using spatial magic. He is surprised to find that he has arrived at the city using this magic, and Beneza is astonished by that. He says, in my world, only high-level sorcerers can use teleportation magic. Here, even ordinary people can use it. This spatial magic allows transportation by specifying a previously visited area, and there is also the possibility of transporting a group of people at once. He then tries to return to his world using spatial magic, but it doesn't respond, and he says, as I expected, it's impossible to return to my world. Well, then I must start earning money to live. Then he says, I'll go to the guild in this world. Maybe I can do some work like pest control or guarding, but it's too early to join the Adventurers Guild. Then he receives a notification that the city of Kreirud is the Heroes Association. He continues walking forward and says, it's a comfortable world, indeed. Then he enters the Adventurers Guild, and the girl there says, the adventurers' levels are determined by their performance. If your level increases, you can take harder missions suitable for your level. You can also take missions even if you're not a member of the guild, but your compensation will be lower by joining the Heroes Association. We offer you free treatment for your injuries with our sorcerer's origin. We advise you to register. What do you think about this? Beneza says, the guild structure is similar to what exists in my world. Then he agrees with her, and she says, okay, please pay 1 silver coin as a registration fee. He says, I haven't received any silver coins from the palace. Is it possible to pay with a gold coin? She says, yes, there's no problem. Does a gold coin equal 10 silver coins? It's difficult to accept this money since I haven't worked to deserve it. Then she asks him what his name is, and he remembers the words of the palace servant that even if he changes his appearance, if he carries the same name, it will be a problem. So he tells her, register my name as Folio. After that, this little girl appears to him and asks him, can you guard me until I reach the De La Faza forest? I want a personal guard. The adventurers around him reply, little girl, no one wants to go on a 20-day journey. If you have a carriage and provide food, I'm ready to accept your request. Folio hears this conversation and says, isn't this the forest I was in before? Then he goes to meet the girl and asks her, do you mind if I take you there? She responds, the reward you offered isn't high. Is this suitable for you? He says, okay, I've been to the De La Faza forest before. If you just want to go, I can send you there using spatial magic. These adventurers are astonished by that and say, it's impossible for this little guy to use teleportation magic. He should have thought of a better lie. They say, an adventurer of the E rank thinks he can use teleportation magic. Suddenly, this girl appears and says she's his royal guard, brandishing her sword towards him and tells him to stay away from this girl immediately. She said, I told you that you could use spatial magic, but I don't see you as an advanced sorcerer who can use this type of magic. What's your goal? A few days ago, no one accepted her request and now someone wants to take it without much compensation. Then this girl speaks and says, maybe you aim to harm her body or kidnap, or enslave or engage in human trafficking. Folio says, it would be bad if anyone from the palace found out, and they seem to suspect me a lot. I have to clarify this misunderstanding quickly. He says to them, why don't we all go together and you can also get all the rewards for yourselves? The royal knight speaks and says, if you make any suspicious move, I will kill you quickly. He tells her, of course. Then they move to a place where no one can see them and say, okay, let's do it. They start executing the teleportation technique to the forest. They are surprised when they actually arrive at the forest, and they say, this is surprising. This place is definitely the Delafaza forest. The little sorceress who is with them speaks and says, teleportation magic over such a long distance can only be done by people of the highest levels of magic. Folio says, I'm just an ordinary adventurer. At least I can use this type of magic. But the knightess tells him she doubts it. Then she sits down and apologizes to him. He tells her it's okay since it was a misunderstanding. Then the little girl asks, why did all the demon particles disappear? This forest was supposed to be covered in demon particles. Then Folio almost speaks saying he did it, but he receives notifications that it's dangerous to tell anyone from the demon faction about his purification magic. He says demons and humans aren't in agreement. They are surprised to find out that this girl is a demon with the fangs of a wolf, and the active magic currently is transformation into a human. After that, the knightess steps forward and says to the little girl, it's time to reveal your identity, miss. They all begin to aim their weapons at her, and the girl says she wants to go to the demon forest to settle there. The situation seems suspicious, and they say they were skeptical about it. The knightess says that Castle Creyrod received a report from the Adventurers Guild a few days ago that someone was recruiting people to go with him to this forest, and there was a suspicious girl. Then the little girl speaks in a terrifying manner and says she is the younger sister of one of the 4 priests of the Demon King, Fenjari. Then she transforms into a ferocious wolf and says she is Fenley's. She tells Folio, you will regret your decision and you will all die now. She says to him, I will eliminate these people so that you will be my last prey. Then she starts attacking the knightess, but Folio saves her at the last moment. He asks her what exactly is happening here and asks if this is a type of magic. Then the monster attacks him again, and he says, at least you seem to have a little courage, but he avoids its attack again and says it's impossible to escape as he has to protect 4 people. He remembers that when he used the technology magic, even without touching the screen, the magic activated when he thought about pressing the button. He starts activating the teleportation magic and successfully transports the 4. The wolf is surprised and asks, where did they go? The girl wolf says, my brother entrusted me with this, and I wanted to feed them to the leaders. Why are you the only one left? Are you planning to become food for me alone? He tells her, okay, I really don't think I want to die after all. And so the first episode of this anime ends. Stay tuned, but don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button. The episode begins today with the transformation of this little girl into a terrifying monster. And it becomes clear that she is one of the 4 prophets of the Demon King and also the younger sister of Vingariel, the Demon King, and her name is Fenris. She starts attacking our hero Fleo, but Fleo avoids the attack and begins to survey his own magic list. He sees the offensive magic list, but he says, I don't have the desire to use offensive magic in this situation. I'll try to use utility magic instead. Then he finds gravity magic and activates it. We find that indeed a magical aura begins to form, and we find that the great monster has fallen to the ground due to the intensity of this magical force. The monster is surprised and says, I, the great monster, have been conquered by magic. After that, we see our hero Fleo saying, gravity magic affects the environment. It has stopped its movement for now, but I can feel its resistance in my hands. It's also difficult to control this type of magic. I want magic that I can use to grasp something. Is there one that suggests enslavement magic? It's magic that controls the target and restricts its behavior, but he refuses to use it. Then after that, he says he will not imitate his previous knowledge, and he refuses to enslave any other race. Then he sees the monster has surrendered and says to her, the system tells me that your resistance has disappeared, and the monster says, I surrender now. Kill me as you see fit. I no longer have any magical power to resist. There is no warrior who cannot fight. Kill me. Fleo responds, I don't want to kill you. I never liked fighting in the first place. The monster is surprised and wonders, you're gentle indeed. Then she starts to transform her appearance into a beautiful girl. Fleo looks at her, mesmerized by her beauty, and she tells him, I was only in my monstrous form. Then Fleo says to her, from now on, if you promise not to attack humans again, I don't mind letting you go. She replies, from now on, I, Fenris, promise not to fight humans without reason, and I also declare you my husband. I will pledge my life to you in exchange for keeping you alive. He is surprised by this and tells her, wait, you don't have to exaggerate to the extent of marriage. She responds, we are Nipand wolves. There is a law that states you must be married to become an expert. Even if you make me carry your luggage and be your servant. I'm not safe at all. Please let me stay by your side as your wife. But he replies, I don't need a luggage carrier or a servant. I never even thought of possessing people like them. She tells him, if you won't accept me, then the only choice is to kill myself. But he doesn't allow her to do that and says, fine, you win. You can follow me. Please don't kill yourself. Then he gives her some clothes to wear. Leo then thinks to himself, what should I do now? After I told her she can follow me, I can't change what I said. And I also can't treat her as a luggage carrier even if she accepts it. He is surprised to find that she has lost consciousness due to the exhaustion of her magic, and her sleep state has been forcefully activated. When he finds her asleep, he reassures her. Later that night, he finds her sleeping outside the tent. She wakes up, and when she sees him, she remembers that she lost to him and couldn't use her hands or legs, even though I thought humans were a primitive and weak tribe. But my draining magic has fully recovered now. She asks if she's alright, and she responds that yes, because he used magic recovery on her while she was sleeping. Then he asks her if she really wants to marry him, and she says yes. He asks if she wants to travel with him, and she says yes. She wants that because she wants to become a woman to a strong husband, and she will become strong like him too, he tells her. But before that, you need to know that I'm not human from this world. I was chased from the castle. That's why I changed my appearance. I was summoned as a hero candidate, but I was unqualified, and I couldn't even return to my previous world. So, I was left alone in this world. I don't even know what to do. I don't even know where to go. So, if you decide to follow me like this, are you really okay with it? She is surprised and says, he's very strong, and yet, why do I feel like he's someone who should never be left alone? She tells him, no matter what, whatever happens, I promise to live with you forever. So please, let me be your wife and stay by your side. Later, in the northern part of Craywood Castle near the forest, we see that these soldiers are besieged by demons. One of the soldiers says, oh, blonde hero, please give us orders. Oh, hero, please order Use to withdraw. The blonde hero says, it has come to this. Damn it, why am I in a place like this? I am a person who can't die in a place like this. The next day, we find the blonde hero with soldiers, and she is injured and crying in front of the king in the castle. The king asks, how did things go? The knight replies, according to the report, a demon was found in the Delphasa forest, part of the demon army. Good morning, 10,000 soldiers were sent to subdue the demon, but they were all destroyed by one monster. The hero asks the king and says, regardless of this situation, I want to ask something. The soldiers I sent to subdue were terrified and broke formation when they noticed the army was already shattered. I was trying to save as many people as possible, as you know. When I returned with the soldiers I rescued, I didn't even receive a word of thanks for my efforts. Then he leaves. After that, the king asks one of the soldiers about how the hero was on the battlefield. The soldier says the hero led the army from the rear, and when the monster appeared, he was in the deepest position in formation. He would run away when the situation got dangerous, even a little. He blames the army. He doesn't possess any of the qualities of a legendary hero. It seems this hero is also disappointing. The king agrees and says, indeed, this hero has been accepted to be the official hero of this country. I only hope we can raise his level quickly. He can overthrow the demon king. Later, in another part of the castle, we find the blonde hero angry and saying, what the hell is this? I trained so hard last month to raise my stats even a little, but they're fixed in the state I was in. If that's the case, humans will always be weaker than monsters. If a stronger monster than me appears, even a little, I won't be able to defeat it. I should have refused to be a hero when I was given the opportunity to refuse. Then he looks at the girl and says to her, I kept you waiting. She replies, no sir, waiting patiently is also one of the maid's duties. He tells her, let's indulge ourselves with the kingdom's treasury. At the same time, in the Heroes Association, we find our hero Fleedo and the girl Fenris scouting the association. Fenris says that the human race has a lot of interesting information and abilities, such as the ability to use magic. Then we see that she will register in this association. And the clerk asks her, what do you want your name to be registered as? She replies, listen carefully, human girl. My name is Hua. But Fleo interrupts her at the last moment and says, her name is Risa, to hide her identity as a monster and demon. We find that she has obtained a necklace similar to the one Fleo has. She apologizes profusely, and he tells her, do not use the name Fenris in the human lands. Many people know you. Maybe they'll show up in the cities. Let's make it less restrictive. I want you to live a lifestyle similar to humans in this city, but we can do that in disguise. Suddenly, the clock appears and says, "There's an urgent mission. A gathering of enchanted bears has been spotted north of the city. They're currently heading towards the city. I request everyone's help in this emergency situation. The level is undefined. Any adventurer can participate. The reward for killing one is 10 times more vanvicused than tinding B. Unusual. I request everyone's help in this emergency situation. The level is undefined. Any adventurer can participate. The reward for killing one is 10 times more than usual. But most humans and hunters say a gathering of enraged bears. I haven't heard of bears nearby. This is impossible. This request. There were rumors that it destroyed the hero's army." Fenris asks, what do they mean by the hero's army? Fleo answers her, it's the army that headed to the Delphaza forest. When we return to the city, most likely, he remembers when they were returning from the city and soldiers and the blonde knight were there. Fleo thinks to himself, if the leader of the army is that blonde hero, then it's a natural result. Fenris replies, perhaps by human standards, he is strong, but he is not strong enough to fight the demon army. Fleo responds sadly, it seems like it was a great opportunity to earn some money, but it seems like we shouldn't go. She asks him, what are you saying? If you fight this gathering of enraged bears, you'll wipe them out in the blink of an eye. Fleo responds, I'm glad to hear that from you, Riso, but even the hero couldn't do it. She replies, in that case, I'll hunt them myself. If I win against them, my dear husband, whoever wins in front of me, I'll know they can win too. I'll prove to them that they're strong. He insists, I can't leave you alone to fight them. I'll go with you. I want to try different types of magic anyway. She thanks him for that, and he suggests, let's go get some weapons to help us deal with these monsters. But she insists, I don't need a weapon. I can defeat them with my bare hands. Leo reassures her, certainly, you're fine with just your hands, but having one doesn't hurt. Besides, it might seem strange to go hunting without a weapon. Then he is surprised by this person's response, who says, you're ignorant, foolish. You overestimate your strength. These are enraged bears this time. You can find them everywhere. Going with 2 people is like going as food for the bears, and you too are a weak-ranked hero. Don't just stand when you see them. Riso gets angry when she hears that, but Fleo calms her down. Then he buys 2 swords. After that, he asks her to give him her hand and puts a ring on it. Then he leaves the place instantly and heads to the northern forest where the wild bears appeared. Fleo says, thank God we don't need a carriage to reach the Delphaza forest. Riso suggests, let's hunt the wild bears and get the money. Then they are surprised to see the wild bears surrounding those people, and they realize that they are the previous group of adventurers they encountered before. Riso suggests ignoring them and leaving, but then one of the knights informs his companions that they can't fight with those injuries and suggests retreating. However, one of the bears attacks a knight and knocks her to the ground. When the bear is about to attack her, Fleo intervenes and uses lightning magic to defeat all the bears, surprising the knights. Then another bear attacks Belano, but Riso suddenly appears and eliminates it. Fleo then thanks the knights for saving them and asks about his friend. Fleo tells them that she is his travel companion named Riso, which surprises her. She asks him why he didn't introduce her as his wife. Fleo explains that he doesn't want anyone to know the truth. Suddenly, a gigantic bear appears behind Riso, and she looks at it, her eyes turning red. The bear falls to the ground, astonishing everyone. Fleo asks Riso what happened, and she tells him she doesn't know how she did it. Then the bear moves and asks for forgiveness from Riso. Fleo suggests they can't let the bear leave, so Riso proposes taking the bear as an ally since wild bears and fierce monsters were able to defeat even the hero's army. Fleo agrees because preventing the bear from attacking people again is a good idea. Fleo then uses binding magic, and suddenly a bell appears around the bear's neck, preventing it from acting freely. However, it can't roam freely with it on. Fleo decides to use transformation magic and turns it into a small rabbit, carrying it in his arms. He suggests naming it Sabi. Then we see the knight Balarosa looking at Fleo and Riso, wondering who they are. They didn't just defeat all the bears at once, but also succeeded in taming one of them. The scene shifts to everyone at the house, where the female knights thank Fleo for saving them. They introduce themselves, with Balarosa being from the Clarod Knights. Blossom explains she gained her strength by working on her family's farm to serve as a strong fighter. Bellary used to take care of her army horse, but eventually became a knight. Finally, the sorceress Belano specializes in defensive magic, but Balarosa asks Fleo to teach them fighting. as he managed to defeat the forces led by the hero at the hands of the raging bears entirely. The hero was very angry and said he would not train forces against the Demon King again until he found people he could trust to use as his right-hand men. He locked himself in the fortress. So the king then urgently ordered them to dedicate themselves from fighting until they could kill monsters on the level of the raging bears. They were still novices as knights and still unable to kill even one raging bear, despite being 4. This angered Riso greatly, and she said, "You are insolent women," and Fio apologized to them, saying she was actually his wife. The knights were very surprised and told him they didn't want to be an obstacle in his path. Riso suggested to Fio that he teach them how to fight through their actual combat experiences, and Fio agreed to teach them. The knights were very happy, and they asked when they would start. Then they asked him for another favor, as it was very dangerous to camp in this area, and they wanted to rent some of his houses. Riso agreed eagerly and told Fio they had plenty of empty rooms, which surprised him greatly to hear from his wife. The scene then shifts to the Demon King, where Kali Alaminas presents a report. Regarding the unit led by Fengriel, which was defeated while in the De La Visa forest, the purification magic was not cast by her magic from the Kingdom of Clairwood, but was cast by a single person. When asked what they would do now, the Demon King said the person had powerful enough magic to eliminate demons in the blink of an eye. He must be a very powerful person and ordered her to find and capture him no matter the cost. And so our episode ends this week. To follow more of the new episodes, please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all updates. Today's episode begins with Reyes waking Fleo up, surprising him. He asks her what she's doing there, and she tells him they're married, so naturally she'll be by his side. Fleo remembers the previous night when Reyes told him she'd always be with him and under his care. When she asked him to sleep next to her, Fleo refused, making Reyes sad. She asks him if he's starting to hate her, but Fleo reassures her that's not the case, explaining there's a certain system to these things. He wants to prepare mentally first because human relationships are very complicated. He tells her he'll sleep in the hallway and leaves. Reyes mentions that if Ryosa and her friends see him there, they'll suspect something. Hearing this, Fleo stops and decides not to sleep outside the room. Then we return to reality, where Reyes asks Fleo to change his clothes. When she helps him, Ryosa interrupts, asking about the day's training regimen. However, she realizes she barged in and hastily leaves. The scene then shifts to Ryosaro in the forest facing a huge monster. Drawing her sword, the monster doesn't let her finish speaking before attacking. Ariosa runs, and the monster pursues her. When her friend Bluesome intervenes, the monster attacks her too. Then, we see Rise asking Belano to use her magical power. Belano uses a defensive spell, saving her friend Bluesome. Then Beleri attempts to spear the monster but fails. Belano informs her that her magical energy is depleted, and she feels nauseous. The monster then begins chasing the 4 knights. Finally, Fleo says, "I know they asked me to lead combat training, but this will be a real challenge." Then the scene shifts to Fleo with the 4 knights in the room, which is very beautiful with a very soft bed. Fleo tells them that he received a reward for dealing with the wild bears and got a good price for this room. It seems that training will take a lot of time, so he rented this room to ensure they don't sleep on the ground all this time. The knights thank him for that. Reyes then appears and informs them that she has prepared dinner for all of them. They all go to dinner and are surprised to find Reyes has prepared fresh raw meat from the mountain boar they just killed to celebrate the new home. She portions it out for everyone, but Fleo tells her they prefer the meat cooked, not raw. Seki, he takes charge and asks everyone to sit and wait for him. Reyes goes with him to help. After a while, we see the table with a lot of cooked food. Everyone is amazed by the beauty of the food, and one of the girls asks if magic was used to prepare it. Fleo tells her that no magic was used. He enjoys cooking a lot and Reyes helped him. She's very skilled in cooking and tells them that she's more skilled in cooking than sword fighting. She used to prepare all the meals herself when she was with her family because they didn't have a cook. They start eating, and everyone finds the food delicious except for Reyes, who says it's impossible that it tastes good because plants are the food of small, weak monsters that cannot hunt for meat. Fleo tells Rice that she's very nurturing, and he made the salad. Rice tells them she'll eat anything Fleo prepares, even if it's plants. When Reyes tastes the food, she's surprised by how delicious it is. When she tries the meat, she's very happy because it's well seasoned. Crispy on the outside, tender on the inside, and the juices are full of rich and delicious flavors. Fleo tells her that it's all thanks to Res's cooking. Res tells them that the meat is cooked very well and promises to prepare a meal for them next time, which makes everyone happy. When they see the monsters Fleo and his friends caught, they are amazed by their abundance. How could they catch this many in one go? Then we see Fleo talking to Vinerys, telling her he feels they've hunted too much. She asked him to take a walk around town while they evaluate their catch. He asked if she wanted him to accompany her, and she replied that she wanted to be alone as she had personal matters to attend to. At that moment, the guildmaster Lilith came and asked Fleo to come with him to talk for a bit. Fleo agreed, telling Vinerys he would wait for her there until she came. Indeed, Fleo went with Lilith, and Vinerys looked at the paper in her hand, finding it was a place for cooking lessons. She hurried off to learn how to cook. Then the scene shifts to Fleo and Lilith in his office, where Lilith tells Fleo that his achievements are no longer just talked about within the guild, but have spread throughout the town as well. In fact, they received a request for him to use his power in the service of the kingdom. The king said that if he agrees, he will make him an honorary knight because they have never seen anyone capable of defeating so many high-ranking magical beasts, especially with just 2 people. However, since they are here in the Adventurers Guild, they would prefer not to let him go. But if he uses his talents in the service of their world, he will gain a lot. Lilith assures him that this opportunity will not come again. Fleo thinks to himself that this offer is too good to pass up. But as someone who came here from another world, he has no reason to fight demons. Then he apologizes to the guildmaster, saying he's not interested in the offer, and leaves the guild. Vinerys comes to him and apologizes for making him wait. When Fleo sees her in this state, he is shocked and asks if she fought a magical monster or not. She tells him she didn't fight any monsters but tried to learn cooking. However, she didn't realize it would be such a formidable enemy for her. She explains that she went to this place to learn cooking, where we see this lady teaching them how to cook, telling them that the quickest way to a man's heart is through his stomach, and thus they become victorious in love. Vinerys tries to cook but fails miserably. In the end, she explodes the kitchen with her magic, but she doesn't let this cooking failure discourage her. At night, we switch to the scene with the golden-haired hero, surrounded by many girls, who tell him about Fleo, leaving him amazed that such a powerful person exists in the guild. His assistant tells him she heard Fleo has another adventure to help kill many magical beasts. Then the king said that if they get his help, they will continue the battle against the Demon King. The hero asks her to bring him here immediately to make him his right-hand man. After a month, the knight comes to Fleo again to offer him the deal, but Fleo tells them he has no intention of accepting the castle's request. The knight returns to the castle again. Vinerys gets angry with them for coming to them so often. This wasn't the first time they offered this deal, so she threatens them to ensure they don't come again. Fleo tells her they're just doing their job, and then tells her they need to join the group's training. Then they go to Blossom, who is working in the field, to help her. Blossom tells them she will work alone in the field with the help of Sybe. Fleo tells her he feels she's not putting in the same effort in training with her sword. Then we see Vinerys with Beleri to teach her archery, but Beleri can't do it because she doesn't see training on the tree as effective. She wants to hunt 3-eyed birds because she craves their delicious and tender meat but knows she can't. Fleo comes to them and tells them he managed to make a new ring and add some magic to it. He gives it to Beleri, telling her it will increase her magical power. Beleri takes it from him to try it out. Belano wanted to try the ring on another finger, but suddenly Fenris appeared in a terrifying form, saying, "Dare not wear it on any other finger than the ring finger in your victory." Belano called upon Yarosa on Philo to save her from the monster, but Fenris struck her with his sword and killed her. Then she said to her, "Enough of your innocence, you must defeat a magical monster of Class C easily now. It was cunning of you to pretend weakness to attract my husband to you." The scene then shifts to the house as they dine, and everyone is amazed by the food. The redhead girl said, "The food looks really good indeed." Belano told her, "Blossom taught me a lot. I've come a long way from raw meat." Philo tells the chef that the food is delicious and amazing, and asks when she learned to do all this. Rhys replied, "Every time I go to the guild, I attend cooking classes. At first, cooking was just a nuisance. I thought I could use magic to finish it. But strangely, my combat strength meant everything to me, and there were more and more things I could do, making me much happier than becoming stronger." Then she remembers the chef's words, "If you want to win a man's heart, curry is the best choice. Put a lot of love spice in it and let him cook it." Then Philo tastes his dish and likes it very much, saying it's delicious and he could eat it forever. Then Olemenes appears, watching them from the window, saying to herself that she is indeed Fenris, the bravest warrior feared by everyone in the army of the Demon King, and what she sees in front of her now, and why she is surrounded by humans. be camping. After that, Rhys appeared and said to Olemenas, "What brings you here? I suspect that one of the closest servants of the Demon King has come to visit." Olemenas replied, "I came here to investigate this area and I saw you here by chance." Rhys told her, "We all live together here with my husband." Olemenas was astonished when she heard this. Rhys happily told her, "Yes, I got married. You didn't come to separate us." Then Olemenas drank the tea, but it stung her, so Philo asked her if she was okay or if the tea was too hot. Rhys said, "It's not too hot. Its temperature is perfect and its taste is amazing." Then Rhys talks to Philo, saying that she seems like a different person now compared to what she was in the Demon King's army. Philo asked, "How can this man be so calm despite his demon sitting in front of him?" Olemenas thought to herself, "With the use of my specialized ability evaluation magic, I can't discover anything about his abilities at all. This has never happened before. My readings never fail, even with the Demon King. But this area seems completely new, especially the Deliza Forest. There isn't a single magical monster there." Philo told her, "If there are no magical monsters there, then I guess the purification magic I used earlier must have worked." Olemenas was surprised, saying, "Purification magic? Did you do that?" Philo replied, "Yes." Then she continued, "This man is the one who defeated Rhys's brother and his forces. Vengeril was stationed there, and we haven't received any news about him since that day." Philo asked Rhys, "Is what she said true, that I did that to your brother, and you knew?" Rhys replied, saying, "A handful of humans can use purification magic, so I expected it. My brother was a fanged warrior, and he hated the idea of me pitying his death. Additionally, he was one of the 4 heavenly kings serving the Demon King, and he alone bore the consequences of his incompetence. Alskasten, I decided to accept this man as my husband because his strength captivated me. Nothing will change the truth of my feelings." At that moment, Yarosa and her friends are seen, and she tells them that she didn't mean to eavesdrop, and apologizes profusely as she overheard what they said. She can't believe that Rhys is Fenris herself. Then Belano faints from the shock, and Philo rushes from his seat to check on her. Olemenas thinks to herself that Philo is very dangerous, as he poses a threat to the Demon King, which means that Fenris is now an enemy to the Demon King because she is his wife and will do as he commands. She then gets up from her seat and says, "Anyway, husband, do you mind facing me in a friendly duel? I'm extremely curious to see your talent that captivated Fenris." Then she thinks to herself that she wants to kill them both. She shouts at him, telling him not to engage in a friendly duel with her, as it's clear that she's using the pretext of a friendly battle to wrap herself around him. She's a very wicked demon, however. He is determined to face her in a friendly duel, and they go outside. He informs her that he's allowed to use magic, and they will continue fighting until one of them surrenders. He tells her that he's ready at any time. Battle begins between them, and we see Olemenas flying in the air, then using the special ability of the venomous cat's claw to distract him while launching multiple attacks from below. But Philo, being very clever, nullifies both spells at once. Then he uses his great power to bind and crucify her instantly. She suffers greatly until she finally declares her surrender. The scene then shifts to Philo and the girls the next morning as they discuss Rhys. Philo apologizes to them for not telling them earlier that she was from the Fenris clan, as he thought it would cause many problems if they knew who Rhys really was. He then tells them that if they want to report them to the castle, it's okay. Rhys speaks up and says she'll say just 2 words. "I swore allegiance to my husband, so I am no longer a member of the Demon King's army." However, that girl with the brown hair and dark eyes, whom Philo helped a lot during their training this month, speaks up, saying it wouldn't be fair to him if they reported him. Philo thanks them all for being cooperative with him and promises not to tell the guild about it. They then quickly leave because a large group of dragons is approaching them, led by Olemenas, who has enlisted the elite forces of the Demon King's army, the Great Dragon Legion. They are surprised by Yarosa's warning about the Legion, as it has wiped out entire human armies multiple times. Then that cursed girl, Olemenas, tells them that if they surrender, they pledge their allegiance to the Demon King, she'll allow them to flee. Philo is very happy and says, "Amazing. I've never seen these dragons before." Meanwhile, his wife Rhys looks at him and asks if there are no dragons in the world he came from. He tells her that there are, but he's never seen them before. He once saw some goods made from dragon scales, but nothing more. Then we see Olemenas, very angry, saying, "How dare you underestimate us like this? Prepare to die." She uses the large fireball of the dragon as Philo wields his large hammer and summons lightning that strikes all the dragons, causing them to scream and fall one by one, like mosquitoes sprayed with insecticide. Olemenas is astonished and says, "Unbelievable! The strongest dragons in the Demon King's army were defeated in the blink of an eye as the rest of them flee quickly, and we see Olemenas shouting, 'Don't leave without me.'" while we see Bluesome saying, "I should have thrown those dragons with one of my farming tools. During that chaos, maybe I could have earned the title of Dragon Slayer and leveled up." Philo approaches her and asks if she wants to try it. She says yes, so he tells her to try throwing that scythe into the sky. Then he uses his multiplied power, which accelerates and penetrates, to pierce the dragon's neck and kill it. She is amazed by this, and the screen shows her saying, "I've actually earned the title of Dragon Slayer." Then everyone gathers around Philo, asking him to help them achieve the same. He tells them to calm down, as the dragons have already fled, and none of them remain. The scene then shifts to the Demon King, who says he can't believe that just an adventurer can do such things. He leaves his council, as he wants to move on to the next plan. What is his next plan? We find out in the next episode, but you won't be a subscriber to the channel. And also, don't forget to click the bell icon to receive notifications for the video. Our episode today starts with Flyo and Reyes. Reyes informs her that he has set up a barrier around the house, so they'll immediately know if any demon approaches. Flyo reassures him, saying it's very reassuring. She then remembers the annoying cat girl's words and becomes very angry. She tells Reyes that just the thought of her angers her, and she's upset with Flyo for treating the cat girl gently despite her attack. Flyo explains that he's not being gentle, and recalls the cat girl's words about Reyes being fully aware that the man who killed her brother, Vingadil, and his forces. Then we return to reality, and Reyes asks what's wrong. Yu assures him that everything is fine, and there's nothing to worry about. She approaches him and suggests they return home, and Reyes agrees. The scene shifts to the 4 horsewomen, where we see Blossom looking at her statistics on the electronic screen. She tells them she still can't believe she has the title of Dragon Slayer now. Then she tells Bilano that this is the legendary shovel that cut off the dragon's head. Then she stands up and tells them that's enough and says she's going to hunt her share of magical creatures today. The other horsewomen are surprised, and one of them says that Blossom is very disciplined, going out every day for training like this. Then we see Bilano walking alone, crying, and saying she wanted that title for herself, meaning the Dragon Slayer title that Blossom took. It's a dream for any new adventurer, she says. She wishes she had gotten that title so she could regain the nobility her family lost and have her family invited to live in the capital again, like when her father was a knight. Then suddenly, behind her, appears that man named Guzal. He tells her that he came here because he heard that an old friend of his lives in the area. Bailerosa looks at him and talks to herself, saying, "Who is this? His recklessness to be in a forest full of magical creatures like this." Then she looks at him and asks if his old friend is Mr. Flyo or if he means his wife. He tells her he means his wife, Reyes. Bailerosa draws her sword and tells him, "You must be from the Demon King's army," and asks him what a woman who has severed all ties with the Demon King's army would want. Guzal confirms that he is indeed from the Demon King's army, but he's here only to ensure Reyes' well-being and harbors no ill intentions, and he will leave immediately. Then he asks Bailerosa to deliver a message to Reyes, saying if she wants to have tea and talk about the past, Guzal is always available. Then he leaves. Suddenly, Flyo and Reyes arrive and ask Bailerosa if she's all right. She tells them she's fine, as someone from the Demon King's army named Guzal just came asking about Reyes. Reyes looks at her and says, couldn't he have chosen a better fake name? Flyo informs her that they came immediately because the barrier Reyes set up around the area detected the presence of a demon, and what they saw shocked them. When Bailerosa was talking to the demon Guzal, the electronic screen showed Flyo that the person was the Demon King himself. Bailerosa is very surprised and asks them if they're joking with her. Reyes tells her they're not joking and that the man was indeed the Demon King and his real name is Guzal. Bailerosa is very afraid and says she raised her sword just a while ago in front of the Demon King. In the morning of the following day, we see Reyes standing at the door of the house with the Demon King in front of her. Then Philo arrives and introduces himself to the Demon King, saying, "Welcome, Gazelle. Please come inside." Then Alirosa appears, and when she sees Gazelle, she is very surprised. Everyone sits down to talk and drink tea. We see Gazelle looking angry, and Philo asks him why Reyes is receiving his assistance at her house. Then we see Alirosa, who is very afraid, asking why she was brought to this meeting with them, and why she is sitting next to Gazelle. She then asks Gazelle why he came here, if he seeks revenge. Gazelle responds saying he hates twists and turns, then looks at Philo and asks him if he wants to join the Demon King's army. Philo is very surprised and tells him he fears rejecting his request. Gazelle tells him that he personally invited him, but it seems King Clerog desires his strength more than anything else. So why live in hiding instead of serving him? Filio explains that it's logical for him to stand by humanity because he is human and he is unaware of the reasons for their conflict in the first place. Gazelle is surprised because Filio hasn't been briefed on the situation and the reasons for the war. Reyes informs them that her husband doesn't want war, so what's the point of this discussion? Gazelle then explains that no one knows the real reason behind the war. He tells them that the war between humans and demons has been going on for 500 years since the first demon king took power. The first demon king came from another world, trying to control this one. The demons who accepted a foreign ruler clashed with humans who rejected him, sparking the war. Reyes concludes that they are not interested, so why explain all of this as if it's normal? Gazelle tells her that with each passing generation of demon kings, the ideologies have certainly become more entrenched, and it won't be easy to stop the war ever. Filio then asks Gazelle if he wants to stop the war. Gazelle responds that after 12 generations of demon kings, the ideologies have definitely solidified, and he no longer has any desire to rule this world. Suddenly, everything around them shakes, and Gazelle says, "I am the demon king, and I cannot allow someone who poses such a threat to demons to fall into the hands of humans." He then looks at Filio and advises him to join him. Filio responds that Gazelle is overestimating him, and he has no intention of standing with either humans or demons in a war. Gazelle calms down and laughs loudly, remarking on Filio's stubbornness, which led him to reject the king's offer. Filio tells him he's glad to be quick-witted. Gazelle stands up and tells him that doesn't mean he's giving up and he'll come back to him again. He couldn't believe there was another human who wasn't bothered by the presence of the demon king. Then we see Alirosa sitting in silence. All the girls enter to check on her, trying to talk to her, but she doesn't know what's happening to her. She remembers waking up and finding the demon king having breakfast with Filio and Reyes, enjoying the food Reyes prepared. Reyes tells her that Filio, her husband, will never change his mind, no matter what happens. Alirosa then has breakfast with them, but afterwards, she leaves quickly when she sees Gazelle because she's afraid of him. However, she meets him in the garden because he wants to talk to her. Every time she sees him, she avoids him as if she has sword drills to do, and each time he tries to talk to her, she evades him. Much to Gazelle's surprise, as he doesn't understand why she acts this way towards him. After that, we see one of the king's guards watching Filio's house. Then he returns to the palace and informs the king that there's a demon visiting the adventurer Filio's house constantly, according to their spy reports. The demon appears and disappears in the demon area several times. The king becomes angry with Filio for daring to ignore his summons repeatedly and prefers to stand by the demon king's army instead. He decides to send his soldiers to him. His daughter, the princess, asks him to wait a little longer because they're not sure yet if he has joined the demon king's army or not. If they send soldiers now, it might upset Filio and push him to actually join the demon king's army. She believes it's better for the king to personally talk to him rather than summoning him. He should listen to what he has to say as well. The king gets angry with her and orders her to be silent and not utter a word. Her representation was futile and not enough to sustain this nation. She tries to continue speaking, but at that moment, the hero with golden hair enters and asks about the source of the commotion. The king is surprised because he left his fortress in the south to visit them. The hero asks him to give him soldiers to go to him, and if he doesn't obey his orders willingly, he will make him obey by force. In the night, in the palace of the demon king, where we find Gozal, the lord of demons, wanting to go to Falio's house, his aide stops him and asks him not to go to Falio's house because she knows it's dangerous to continue going there alone. She tells him that Falio is much more understanding than King Moen, who refuses to even listen to him. She insists that he needs to win Falio over to their side if there's any chance of success. He contemplates the best time to move his forces, knowing they are ready. She also informs him that there are individuals among their ranks speaking ill of him. Knowing he continues to visit Falio, believing he does so to lure him to their side. Then we switch scenes to Falio and Fenris. Fenris asks Falio what he's thinking about, and he reveals that he's actually thinking about selling some items made from dragon scales in the town. He's currently working on a prototype, and it seems to be turning out amazingly, but he needs to test it more to craft one worthy of selling. He wants this venture to succeed to support himself. Fenris questions whether it's right for him to work with the hero as ordered by the king or not, as he could earn much greater rewards if he did. She points out that he could also fully utilize his abilities. She's amazed that he chose not to fight the Demon King's army because of her, considering it an incredibly kind gesture. Falio responds that he wasn't being kind, he just didn't have the incredible power he has now. and he prefers not to fight anyone unless he has to. Fenris admires this aspect of him as much as any other. The door knocks and Rhys says, "Velo, it could be Gazelle again." Velo responds, but the barrier hasn't detected any demon entering. Then the girl enters, crying and calling for Velo. After that, we see the hero and his soldiers in front of Velo's palace. The hero asks Velo, "Are you Velo?" Velo confirms, and the hero says, "I know well what you're seeking." Rhys speaks to Velo, asking, "Do you want me to reject their request?" The hero interjects, saying, "I heard you were in contact with the Demon King's army. I'll give you a choice. Join me and march to defeat the Demon King, or I'll consider you a spy for his army and deal with you where you stand." The hero is elated by his words, thinking to himself that this will be one of the top 3 epic scenes in his life, feeling powerful to the point of rendering Velo speechless. He anticipates becoming a true hero, adding to the legend of this world. "All I need to do is defeat the Demon King with him by my side." Velo expresses his reluctance to choose either option, apologizing for the trouble they've gone through but stating he has no intention of joining either the hero or the Demon King's army. The hero accuses Velo of choosing death as a traitor to his kingdom. Blossom intervenes, claiming Velo is not a traitor. The hero responds, threatening to arrest them all for treason, but ultimately deciding to overlook it, requesting their help in convincing Velo. Velo explains he can't cause trouble for Balarosa and the other knights. Rhys asks what they will do, and Velo responds that they can't choose either option, and he doesn't want a fight here, so they'll go elsewhere. Rhys agrees to accompany him, and the other girls insist on joining as well. They say, "We'll come with you to accompany you." Balarosa says the demons are our enemies. Who was a knight in the past? They ask him to take them with him. The hero is astonished, saying, "What's happening? Do you think you can escape this siege?" The hero gets angry and wants to strike Velo, but Velo uses teleportation magic. The hero is surprised by Veloro's use of magic, saying, "How can a worm like you use magic that even I can't use?" Everyone is surprised by their disappearance and the disappearance of the house. Then a soldier speaks to the hero, telling him that there's a man there who is the demon in contact with the adventurer. The hero asks them to kill him. Ghoul says, "Where did the house go? This must be your doing." He gets very angry and transforms into a demon, saying, "It seems I'll have to teach you all a lesson." He orders, gather and launch a full-scale attack on the magical kingdom of Clearwood. Show them what we demons can do. Then the scene shifts to Mayao, saying, "It seems you've heard the voice of the Demon King. We have new orders to move." After that, we see Velo and the girls arriving at a place and being amazed by it. They ask Velo where they are, and he tells them they're near a town called Hotar, west of the royal capital. He explains they came here to sell some Dragonbane materials a while ago and are far from the capital. The girl with red hair says, "Now neither the hero nor the Demon King will be able to find us." Velo apologizes to Rhys for what they went through. She tells him it's not his fault, and as long as she's by his side, she'll be happy wherever they go. They decide to have dinner, and Velo promises to prepare a celebratory feast for their move. Thus ends today's episode. Stay tuned for the upcoming episodes. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell to receive all the latest updates. In a thrilling episode, the genie who previously killed over half of the city's population will be unleashed once more. Additionally, she will attempt to kill Fenris, the wife of Philo whom Philo couldn't heal from her wound. It turned out to be more dangerous than anticipated, as the genie intended to kill Philo but missed the mark. Follow along to the end to uncover all that unfolds. Our episode begins where the field army was fighting the demon army, but the demons were overwhelming everyone. They went to the northern fortress and started fighting everyone mercilessly. At that moment, the messenger rushed to the king and said to him urgently, "My lord, I have an urgent report. The demon's army has breached our defensive barriers one after another, and we cannot know how long the magical barrier of the northern fortress will hold." The king told him to summon the hero immediately. Then one of the elders, a man with big ears and a long beard, said, "We must gather all the kingdom's sorcerers here to prepare for the purification spell." Another official approached and said, "If the northern fortress falls, we have no choice but to rely on the hero. So we must think of any opportunity for victory. What is your decision, your majesty?" The king was very anxious and didn't know what to do. What do you think His Majesty the King would consider, my friends? The scene now shifts to the Demon King, where Grial approaches him and gives him a report about the army, stating that they are now ready. Then the Demon King speaks to Eliminus and tells her, "We will withdraw now. Illuminas is surprised by the Demon King's decision and asks, "Isn't this the perfect time to use our advantage?" He tells her that they will soon use the purification spell, and she must not allow their forces to be exposed to it. The scene then moves to the desert, where they perform strange rituals to cleanse their lands from the cursed demon army. We see the king singing with them, and at that moment, a tremendous force is unleashed, to the extent that it takes control of the city. The scene shifts to Vilo, who has finally returned, and Fenris welcomes him back warmly. She rushes to him and hugs him tightly, as she hasn't seen him in a long time. Then she offers him choices between having dinner, taking a bath, or cutting his long hair, while she holds onto some locks of his hair. He found himself very tall, so he told her, "I want to start with dinner first, because I'm very hungry." The scene then shifts to the dinner, and after they finished, they were drinking some tea. Fenris asked him, "How was the situation in the town, my dear? Have you found a shop to work with?" He told her that he hadn't found anything yet, because there are many shops in Hogtao, so he still hasn't checked them all. "I want to spend some time to know the prices of the armors before I make a decision," he added. The girl, Blossom, speaks up and says, "Honestly, I was thinking of selling vegetables from my farm in this town too. I can't continue living here for free. I want to earn my daily bread." Then Belirai speaks, "I was also thinking of raising horses and then renting them out at a high price because many people here will need them for cart pulling." Blazum mentions that Beliri used to take care of the war horses in the castle, so she's used to dealing with them. Vilo asks if they can use the stable behind the house, and Beliri assures him that she will do her best to contribute to the household budget. The other girls mention that they don't have any talents, and their income is non-existent. Fenris reassures them, "Don't worry, I'll teach you everything." Vilo suggests sharing household chores, and they can work on magic without worrying about the house. Balarosa thanks him for his kindness. The scene now shifts to the royal palace, where King's army has pushed back the Demon King's army thanks to the power of the sorcerers. They have exerted a lot of effort, and they have 3 months before the magic starts to fade. During this period, the main forces of the Demon King's army will not approach the purified area, so it will be safe during this time. The queen looked at them and said, "Well, many of our sorcerers have fallen into a coma after exhausting their magic. I was told they will need at least 2 or 3 months to recover. Also, my father is very ill." She then told them, "Until my father recovers, I will fulfill his royal duties as dictated by the laws of the Kingdom of Clearwood. As a start, I hereby announce the first decision, the dismissal of the hero from his position as the kingdom's champion." Everyone was surprised. Then they looked at each other in shock. The king's daughter looked at them and said, "The fate of the kingdom itself is at stake now." And instead of offering help, he chose to imprison himself in his fortress. "So, my decision is 100 correct. He must be isolated." One of the ministers said to her, "How will we face the army of the Demon King alone?" Another minister asked, "Do you want us to summon another champion?" She replied, "No, because we don't have enough magic to summon him. We have reached a dead end." The scene then shifts to the golden-haired hero, who is in shock because he has been expelled. A soldier informs him that these are the orders of the king's daughter. The hero becomes angry and says, "I am the hero chosen by the king. I will not allow such audacity." But the soldier throws his belongings at him and leaves. The hero becomes very angry and says, "When the Demon King attacks, you will have no choice but to plead for my help." The scene now shifts to Philo and Fenris, and he thinks and says to her, "You have put in a lot of effort since we moved here." She tells him, "I am ready for anything for you, my dear." He said to her, "Listen, I've never had the chance to say this to you before, but I am very grateful to you. I know just living among humans may be difficult for you, yet you still do everything around the house. I really want to thank you." Then he turned to her and found her deep in sleep, so he smiled softly. Then he spoke to himself, saying, "When I was brought to this world alone, I was completely lost. But now, I have deliberately found purpose and a home to live in, and I'm already managing my affairs. If I were alone, I wouldn't have felt this peace at all. Unity is strength, and division is weakness." In the morning of the following day, we see Philo extremely shocked because Fenris asks them to go out on a date. She wants them to relax and go out. Then their friends offer to take care of the household chores for them, as they want them to go out and enjoy their time. Philo behaves with great shyness, but their friends tell him not to be shy, as they are married and he is her husband, and he has the right to do whatever he wants to her. Then the scene shifts outside, where Philo and his wife are strolling around the city. Then they buy beautiful necklaces. She then takes his arm and says to him, "Come on, let's go somewhere else. I want to enjoy my time now." She wants to enjoy her time with him alone, as there are exciting things rarely found. He always asks her what she wants, and he will buy it for her. She always helps him, so he wants her to let him buy whatever she wants for her pleasure. She is very happy because she has never received any gift before. Then she keeps looking in the market for something to buy. She finds these rings and hairpins made of real gemstones. The merchant tells them that these hairpins suit the color of Fenris's hair. So Filio chooses this hairpin as a gift for her and tells her that she will look very beautiful with it because it suits her very well. Fenris thanks him very much, and after finishing shopping, they return home. Fenris keeps looking at the hairpin with love, and outside, her assistants are amazed at what she is doing. She has been like this since they returned from the market. But they are very happy for her, because she told them that Mr. Filion gave her that hairpin, and they wish them a good life as they seem to enjoy their date. At night, Fenris sleeps next to Filio, and he hears her murmuring, so he understands that she is tired from this busy day. In the morning of the next day, the hero and his servant are in the treasury room in the palace, where the hero tries to find anything to maintain his status as a hero. He gets very angry at this princess because she believes she can do as she pleases in the absence of the king. So, her servant asks him what he's doing, still addressing him as the hero. The hero is surprised by this, and the servant tells him that she knows he has no intention of giving up this position, so it is expected of her to continue serving him. The hero responds that her words are true. He refuses to live as a commoner in this world, so there must be something in the treasury that can be used against the Demon King, and he will use it to defeat him and live the rest of his days as a hero. He is the chosen hero by the king, and how can a man like Theo use magic that the hero cannot? Then, the hero hears a voice coming from the wall, saying that if he desires power, he must release it. The hero doesn't understand anything, so the fairy tells him that she is behind the wall, and indeed, a hidden door is opened, surprising the hero. But he hears the voice again, telling him to pull out the sword, and it will grant him any wish he desires. The hero enters the room and pulls out the sword as instructed, with his servant behind him, not understanding anything and not knowing who the hero is talking to, but she is very afraid. The hero asks her if she hears the voice he hears, to which she answers that she hears nothing. So the hero leaves her and goes to pull out the sword. This causes a great whirlwind, and then the genie emerges from it. She claims to be Haya, a genie who dominates the source of light and darkness, and he is the one who freed her from her seal. In this case, she will grant him only 3 wishes. He just needs to tell her his desires. Then we switch to the princess and her men when the oracle, named Ashura, arrives. The princess welcomes her warmly, knowing that relying on a simple oracle like her in the strongest magical kingdom is very difficult. So, the princess tells her that the only thing protecting the kingdom now is the purification magic's effect, so they must take the next step before its effect fades. The oracle understands that she wants to know what will happen next, so she assures her that she will do anything to save the kingdom. In the midst of their conversation, these collars appear around the necks of everyone in the meeting. No one understands what's happening, so the princess quickly orders them to go to the treasury underground immediately to arrest the intruder. The guards indeed go, and then we learn that these collars are sacrificial collars. When a specific genie fulfills a wish, it puts them around the necks of its victims to decapitate them. In return, everyone is afraid and doesn't know who will do this. The princess reveals to them that King Clairwood requested from a certain genie to defeat the Demon King in exchange for sacrificing half of the living beings on the continent. Despite the numerous sacrifices, he gathered all the wizards in the kingdom to combine their powers to seal the genie. Breaking the seal isn't easy, yet someone succeeded. They had already made a wish from the genie, so everyone fears even more because they believe their heads will be cut off, and they don't have much time until the genie fulfills the wish. Then the princess talks to the oracle, Ashura, telling her that she must tell them what she needs to do to get out of this dangerous situation. The oracle uses her powers and tells them that this genie was summoned by the adventurer whom the king had tried to recruit before. Everyone thinks it's Mr. Filio who did it. So the guards decide to send soldiers to search for him in every town and village in the place the oracle told them. The guard said, "Let's send soldiers to search every town and village in the west." The princess replied, "We can't divide the forces protecting this land. I will go myself." Then the scene shifts to the guild, and this employee speaks to Philo saying, "You surprised me. Is this armor made from dragon scales?" Philo replied, "You have sharp eyes indeed. I managed to procure it for you." The employee asked him, "I heard a rumor about a large quantity of dragon meat being brought to the town's butcher. Was that also your doing?" Philo told him that the opportunity presented itself to him thanks to his connections. He also acquired the armor, a top-tier item, from the very same highly secretive source. The employee said to him, "I'll take this armor at any price you set, and in return, would you introduce me to any merchandise you obtain from this highly secretive source?" Philo said, "That suits me. I'll bring all the weapons from now on. Can you guide me to a good merchant who can buy goods made from magical monster hides? I've recently moved to this area and have been looking for a wholesale buyer to sell the items I've acquired. It would be very reassuring to get the help of a shopkeeper I know I can trust," the employee said. "I'd like to say I could take them all, but I'll introduce you to one." Bella Rosa said that Philo possesses many skills. Not only did he make an excellent shield from dragon materials, but he also found a merchant and a steady way to sell more of them. Reese said that Vilo had told her he used to be a merchant and must have achieved a lot in the past. Bella Rosa said, "I envy you indeed, because you have a perfect husband. I was trying to say, I wish I could find a man like him." Reese replied, "But you have an excellent man in your life, Gazal. He seems to be enchanted by you." Bella Rosa exclaimed, "The demon king enchanted by me." Then Vilo came out, and Reese asked him if they could sell the armor. He told her yes. They got a price higher than expected, and he thanked Bella Rosa for introducing him to a good shop. She said, "Yes, I used to come here when I was a knight. I'm glad I could help." Reese told them, "Let's go back home." Then Vilo spoke to her. "Seems you enjoyed negotiating with him a lot." Vilo replied, "Yes, I used to be a merchant before. I really think I'm more suited for this kind of work." Reese said to him, "Seeing you achieve so much makes me happy, but a little sad because we'll have better times to spend together. I want to go hunting together or go to the town together like we did today." Then Vilo received a warning message, and there's a genie approaching. Then this girl comes from behind them, and Reese asks who this woman is. The genie replied, "I am she, and you are Vilo, right?" He asks her, "What do you want from me?" Then the genie remembers King Aid's words when he told her, "Kill that vile criminal who humiliated me. I will grant your wish now." So the genie attacks him, but Reese intervenes and takes the blow instead of him. Reese tells him, "Run now, Vilo." Then the genie says, "I missed the target." Bella asks, "How dare you do this?" The genie attacks them again, but the guardian intervenes to protect them from the attacks. The genie says, if he can fend off all offensive spells. Bella asks Vilo to use his magic. So Vilo tries to heal Reese, but he fails and the spell dissipates because the injury exceeds the healing magic's capacity, and there's no alternative spell for healing magic. The genie uses magic again and explodes the place. She says he still hasn't been hurt by any harm. Vilo obtains the magic of light and darkness source. Vilo says angrily and sadly, "I will never forgive you for this." That's how today's episode ends. Stay tuned for the next episodes, so don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell to receive all the updates. Our episode today begins with the death of Reis. Flu recalls the past when Reis used to ask him to live beside her for the rest of her life, allowing her to protect him. Flu agreed, and Reis was overjoyed. Flu thought to himself, "You trusted me, Reis, and stayed by my side, always after my exile in this world alone." Then Reis tells him, "There is no greater honor for a woman of our kind than having a strong spouse like you. I can't believe I'll be the wife of a powerful man like you." Flu continues his thoughts. "We pretended to be spouses and proposed a formal marriage to avoid the master-servant relationship. She accepted it happily, more than I expected. Reis became isolated, everyone antagonizing her because of my proposal, as I was the one who killed her brother, Ivaniel, and his forces. Yet, Reis never objected and always stood by me, protecting me." Flu's love for her continued, making him feel that her protection of him was the role he deserved in this unfamiliar world. Then we return to reality, seeing Reis lying between Flu's arms, dead. A message appears on the electronic screen, informing him that the source of sleep and darkness magic has been obtained. Flu, furious, rises and looks at Reis, swearing never to forgive her for her death. A magical circle appears above Flu, and the time reversal magic is activated. We see Reis's wounds and blood disappearing. Then we see Haya asking, "How can an ordinary human use time reversal magic?" She asks Flu, "Who are you?" Flu approaches her and strikes her with a very powerful blow to her face, causing her to fall to the ground. Haya looks at him and asks, "How dare you do this to me?" Flu strikes her with a powerful kick to her abdomen and tells her, "Enough of your babbling." He then uses dark magic, but Flu cancels it out and grabs her by the head, surprising her. He lifts her up high, and Haya uses her exploration magic with her eyes to figure out who he is. She's astounded by the overwhelmingly high results and realizes his skills are limitless. She understands that defensive magic won't work against someone who can use all kinds of magic. Flu strikes her again with a brutal blow, sending her flying. Then we see Reyes opening her eyes and asking, "Are you okay, Haya?" Haya gets up and asks what happened. Surprised to find no injuries on herself, Lady Valorosa tells her it's Flu's magic. Haya looks at Flu, who is relentlessly attacking her, and Reyes rejoices at her master's strength, saying it's expected that physical attacks wouldn't work against a fairy who uses all sorts of magic. She remembers Flu's words about his aversion to killing and his preference for surrendering over fighting. Back in reality, Reyes realizes Flu is doing this for her sake. We see Flu still striking Haya. Then he approaches her again, grabs her, and lifts her high. She begs him to stop and not to kill her. Suddenly, Reyes rushes to Flu, holding him back, pleading with him not to do it, and saying that just seeing his anger on her behalf makes her incredibly happy. Flu releases the witch, Haye, and she falls to the ground. Then Reyes asks Flu if he allowed her to live because he didn't want to kill anyone, and she would be very sad if he killed Haya. Reyes cries heavily, and Flu wipes her tears, asking if she's okay. Reyes assures him she's fine, and Flu embraces her tightly, also crying heavily. The scene transitions to the army, which had arrived at this place through instant teleportation. They came here in search of Flu. Then the leader apologizes for putting so much pressure on them, which led them to resort to teleportation magic. Despite only a few of them having recovered from their injuries, she expresses genuine remorse and tells them not to worry about using their magical abilities, emphasizing the importance of prioritizing the well-being of all sorcerers. She then informs them that if they want to find the true hero, they will need to ask the people. Starting from this point forward, this moment, something incredibly strange happens. The sacrifice necklaces vanish from their necks, surprising everyone. They inquire about the meaning of this and wonder if the genie has failed to fulfill their wish. The scene then shifts to these soldiers knocking on the door of the boy known as the hero, who is blamed for all the problems. They inform him of their predicament. If they capture him, their fate will be execution by hanging. He's enraged. The golden hero curses the genie, doubting if all the promises about fulfilling his wish were lies. Meanwhile, a ghost emerges and informs them that the genie has indeed failed. There's a sacrifice. She wants to enter one of them. And indeed, this happens. She enters the girl's body. She then reveals herself as Damalineth, the grand sorceress of darkness, claiming it's her first flesh and blood body in centuries. She promises to grant him the power he desires and transforms him into a monstrous beast, mocking his former bland and foolish appearance. "Finally, I'm free," she says. "You look much better now with that fierce and powerful look than with that dull, stupid face you had before." Then she mounts her horse and rides out to the soldiers outside. When she sees the teleportation circle, she says, "I won't allow the royalists who sealed me to escape." The scene then shifts to Flu and the genie after she woke up. She pleads for forgiveness, and when she looks at herself, she finds that her wound has completely healed. Flu informs her that his wife, Rhys, healed her. She quickly presents the Erosa to them, and Flu asks, "What should we do with this genie? She's too dangerous for the knights to handle." Flu considers the matter and says, "Yes, we can seal her again in the castle's treasure chamber." The genie is surprised and asks him how he knew she was in that place beforehand. Flu tells her he has his own abilities and can easily do this because when they were attacked, he wanted to know why they were targeted. So he peered into his mind to see what happened. The genie is astonished and wonders if he used memory magic, even though she was the only one who used it previously. Then Flu speaks to her and tells her she's a wish genie, but at a great cost. And if he returns her to the castle, the same thing might happen again later. Flu approaches her and says, "It's simple. From now on, I'll make you my husband's servant." Then Flu wants to talk to her, and she says, "My husband, I know you don't want servants in the house, but we'll bring her to our home so we can monitor what she'll do. Moreover, having a powerful genie like this in our herd will greatly benefit us." Flu remarks, "I believe, Rhys, your persuasion skills have improved." She replies, "I'm not persuading you, my dear, but we want someone like her who possesses great power and will be of help to us." Flu asks her how that can be possible when she offered you harm. Reese puts her hand on his face, clearly angry. Resis expresses deep frustration, but acknowledges that her lack of powers allowed Haya to overpower her. Flu responds that as long as she feels remorse, it doesn't seem logical to remain angry forever. He then speaks to Haya, asking her to promise not to take anyone else's life again. Haya holds his hand, ready to be forgiven for her actions. She thinks to herself that because humans often struggle to let go of hatred and fears, they possess desires they're willing to sacrifice others for, assuming it's their nature as creatures. She agrees to his terms and promises not to harm anyone anymore. She tells Lord Flu that he's incredibly strong, wishing to see what he desires and to help him achieve it. She pledges her life and all her powers to him from now on, which delights Flu. He then apologizes to her for what he did. Flu then surveys the battlefield, realizing they need to quickly repair the area. He considers using the time manipulation magic he used to heal Res's injuries, thinking it might be useful. However, Hai asks him to wait and not use that magic again. Flu doesn't understand, so Haya explains that the explanation is very complex, but she will tell him. She explains that time manipulation magic controls time for people within the target range. Contradictions between those within and outside this range can lead to unexpected accidents easily. She clarifies that since he's the only one using it, she can narrow the target range to just one person, but it's a magic designed for them to use. Flu asks her about the reason she was able to use this magic. She tells him that being a fairy and displaying his state indicates that his skills are unlimited. Flu is astonished by her words, realizing his strength is indeed limitless. He asks her about the infinity symbol she found in his list of skills, but she doesn't answer directly. Instead, she informs him that possessing unlimited skills allows him to use magic known to the fairies, and they can use it. He knows about the full transfer magic, where once any type of magic is used on him, he gains access to it and all the spells it contains. Reyes clarifies that she meant when he's hit by magic. Flu explains that only the fairies can use magic alone. Dubbing with this case, Flu considers using the repair magic to handle this matter. Afterward, Flu and Reyes return home with Hai. She introduces herself as Hai, who dominates the source of light and speech. She informs them that she'll be living here, startling everyone as she comes from the demon world. Flu asks the girls to let her stay with them, because she has nowhere else to go. The girls get angry at how he talks about her as if she's just a cat. Then Lady Valerosa intervenes, informing them that Haya's room is ready. Hya goes with Lady Valerosa, while Flu goes to his room, still contemplating his fight with Haya. Lady Valerosa enters at this moment, asking him what's going on with him. He brushes it off, saying he was just thinking about something specific. He then apologizes to her for what happened today, feeling she might have been scared and intimidated by his. Flu replied, "She told me that I have incredible power, but I have no idea how to use it." She asked with the Erosa, "How do you use your power? I don't have power like yours, but I don't understand it." It became clear that those I thought were enemies are not enemies, and those I thought were allies are not allies. What do I do to become stronger against those against whom I must raise my sword? If I hadn't met you and Lady Reese, I'm confident I wouldn't have bothered myself with such things, but I'm grateful for everything you both did. You made me realize that some things I considered clear aren't. The scene then shifts to the room where Flu is talking with Reese, saying, "We've been through a lot today." He asks her if she's okay or not, noticing her despondency. "Did something happen to you?" Reyes asks him, "Will you return to the world you came from?" Flu is surprised and asks why she's asking about that. She replies sadly, "That's what she said. Once any magic is used on you, you gain that magic and all the spells it contains. Since you're now able to use genie magic, you still can't return to your world. Take me with you always in your world too. It doesn't matter where you go, but I want to be by your side. So don't leave me and go away." Flu assures her, holding her, "I won't go back. The world you came from will be a harsh place for you to live in, and I have no intention of leaving and abandoning you. You've become my wife now, and when I thought I might lose you, I was afraid to an unbelievable extent. I've never felt such intense pain inside me before. I know I said we'd pretend to be husband and wife, but it seems I can't imagine life without you now." She tells him, "Our marriage wasn't just pretend. For me, you've been my husband from the beginning. You told me before that you changed your appearance when you escaped from the castle, but there's no need to hide your true form from me anymore." Flu said to her, "Your identity in this world Then the genie interrupted them, and they were both very surprised. Reese asked her, "How long have you been there?" The genie replied, "Since the moment you both sat on the bed." Reese asked, "Were you watching us the whole time?" The genie confirmed, "Yes, it's my duty to watch where the high being goes and observe everything." Flu became agitated, saying, "Violating others' privacy is forbidden. If you're living with us, you need to learn some manners." The scene then shifts to the girl's bedroom, where Polysom says, "We should discuss matters like this more calmly." Then the genie tells Reese and Flu, "In that case, I'll make myself invisible when I observe you, so I won't disturb you." Reese and Flu object to this, saying, "No, that's not necessary." Then the scene concludes with them saying, "That's how today's episode ends. Stay tuned for the next episodes of this anime. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell to receive all the latest updates." Our episode begins today with a woman at the Adventurers Guild. She tells someone that she is looking for a particular adventurer, one who is strong enough to defeat several magical beasts at once by himself. She asks her, "Do you know anyone with such qualities?" The man looks at her in astonishment and then tells her that he has never heard of such specifications before. At that point, the woman leaves the place, thinking to herself, "Where could you possibly be, Mr. Phil?" The scene then shifts to Phil and his friends as they enjoy their lunch. The food is very delicious, and the soup is especially amazing, making everyone very happy. Fenris is delighted because she prepared the meal for them, but she looks at Hia and says that Haya helped her in the kitchen. Hia tells them that she could use magic to do everything, but Mrs. Fenrir did not allow it. Fenrir explained that cooking should be done with enjoyment, spirit, and care. Otherwise, the food wouldn't be as good and delightful. She then tells Haya that if she wants to help, she should take care of the cleaning and washing. Haya agrees and says, "Okay, ma'am, I'll make every corner a nook cleaner than ever before." Everyone is surprised and says, "What's going on? Is that fairy going to take control of everything?" We then see Haya serving a dish to Phil. He thanks her and asks her to call him by another name instead of what she called him earlier, as she had called him Supreme Being, which was very embarrassing for him. She asks him what he means, but he tells her it's nothing. He then looks at the rest of the group and says, "What's wrong, ladies? Aren't you going to eat?" The scene then shifts to Balsam, who is plowing the land because she wants to become stronger so that the fairy Haya cannot overpower her. The creature with her transforms into a large being and starts digging quickly. Meanwhile, another girl is raising horses. The horses hug her and lick her face, which greatly surprises the girl. The scene now shifts to Bilano, who is thinking about her father and brother. She had left the knights before becoming a sorceress in the castle like her father and brother. She realizes she doesn't need to push herself to become stronger right now. She recalls Phil encouraging her to try magic again as he had taught her. She attempts to use a fire spear, but it is very weak. Phil encourages her, saying, "Well done, Belano." Reflecting on her past, she acknowledges that Mr. Phil was kind enough to continue teaching someone like her, even though she felt like a worthless, dull girl who understood nothing. Now she has become strong, but she desires to become even stronger and to learn how to use more spells. At that moment, she hears screams outside. When she goes out, she sees a horse causing chaos and destruction in the farm. It isn't like the other horses, it is a magical beast. The horse charges at them with great force, but Belano uses her magic power to create a barrier in front of the magical beast. Bellerosa arrives to check on them, and they assure her they are fine. Bellerosa apologizes, explaining that the beast seemed calm enough for a magical creature, so she couldn't bring herself to kill it and brought it here instead. She adds that if the beast attacks people, she will deal with it immediately. In those moments, the bear transforms into its second form, a unicorn rabbit. They shoot an arrow at it, but it catches the arrow in its mouth. Bellerosa then mounts it and tries to control it. Eventually, Bellerosa manages to tame the beast, and everyone praises her for her skill in taming magical beasts and handling horses. Belano then asks Bellerosa if they are allowed to use the land. Bellerosa explains that the land belongs to the local lord, but she is confident they can use it if they buy it from him, just as Phil did. The scene shifts to Fenrir and Phil, who are walking together as they plan to sell some equipment. Fenrir holds onto his arm, which she loves doing since they are now a real couple. Spending time with him makes her very happy. Phil then enters a store to buy several things he needs. The shopkeeper shows him a piece of clothing made from salamander skin, noting its fine craftsmanship and suitability for women since it is light. He suggests adding some colors to it. and then asks if Phil wants to add some magical gemstones. Phil agrees, and the shopkeeper brings out several magical gemstones. Phil selects a particularly beautiful one, and the shopkeeper explains that it is called the Lightstone, which is very rare, therefore quite expensive. Outside, Reese watches them with great happiness, as she loves seeing the serious expressions on his face while he works. Suddenly, the sky changes from clear blue to a dark black, causing everyone to panic. Guards quickly surround the princess to protect her from any potential danger. A portal opens and a huge monster emerges from it. Phil rushes out of the shop, not knowing what is happening. Reese informs him that the monster appeared in the sky out of nowhere, realizing that the townspeople are now in danger. Phil quickly assesses the situation and decides to run towards the monster to fight it. But then we see an evil witch standing in front of the princess, intent on killing her. The guards warn her to stay away from the princess, but the witch decides to remove the guards from her path. She uses her spells to strike them down. Meanwhile, we return to Phil and Reese. Hia rushes to them to help, explaining that she sensed an evil presence while at home and came as quickly as she could. She informs them that the monster is actually human, transformed by the magic of the witch accompanying it. This witch is the great dark sorceress named Damalinas the Apricot. She was once the most powerful witch in the magical kingdom of Clairod, but tainted her hands with dark magic. She was defeated by the hero of that time, but even after her body died, her consciousness remained alive and was sealed in the same sword base that sealed Haya. It seems she has also managed to return now that Haya's seal was broken. Reese is slightly angry, realizing that this might be her fault. Hia admits that it is indeed because of her, but she argues that the humans who failed to serve and protect the sword, as well as the foolish person who broke the seal, are more to blame than she is. Phil interrupts, saying that this is not the time for jokes. Hia then tells him that she wants to deal with the threat to the town herself. Phil is worried because the townspeople's lives are at risk, and he wants to ensure their safety. Hia reassures him that she will protect the townspeople. Phil then decides to help by evacuating the people to safety. Then we transition to the scene where the witch wants to kill the princess. Only one guard remains to protect the princess from the witch's spells, but he is more frightened than she is. The princess speaks, saying she was certain that Damalinas would appear again, as she has never been afraid of her and will kill her immediately. Damalinas responds that she is here to take her life. The monster accompanying Damalinas tries to kill the princess, but Haya quickly arrives to protect her. Damalinas is shocked because Haya dared to stand in her way. Haya tells her that she will eliminate anyone who disturbs the tranquility of her master, whom she serves. Damalinas becomes very angry with Haya and uses another power, but Haya is able to deflect it again. Damalinas is astonished that Haya stopped her magic with one hand. Haya then tells her that there is no magic in the world that can affect her. Damalinas orders her monster to attack Haya, but Haya uses her power, and the monster is unable to harm her. The witch uses her spells from a distance, but to no avail. Damalinas decides to use synchronized magic and direct attacks, even if she is facing a fairy, but finds no success. She becomes furious again, because it's impossible for her to lose to anyone. Then she splits the earth, intending to open her portal to engulf everything in darkness. The monster's size doubles and becomes a giant monster, frightening the princess because it will cause more damage than just to the town. The beast grows larger and larger, but is unable to do anything because the magical barrier is broken. The evil fairy is shocked by what happened. The beast then begins to shrink in size, and Phil and Reese appear. Phil speaks to Haya, saying, "I knew the size of that thing would be a problem, so I nullified the magic." He apologizes to him, saying, "I never intended to cause you all this trouble. If you want to punish me, do whatever you wish." She then requests Phil to allow her to deal with the evil fairy. He attacks the evil fairy with all her might, using her magic to easily defeat her. She captures the fairy spirit and seals it within a small orb. After that, the beast and the fairy revert to their original human forms. Chia explains, "I extracted her from the woman she was possessing and sealed her inside my spiritual realm. I will ensure she is disciplined so that she uses her powers as a former great dark sorceress for your benefit." Reese then comments that the hero has caused a lot of trouble and is now unconscious. She suggests that the castle soldiers should take care of him. Princess Elizabeth arrives and introduces herself to Phil, thanking him from the bottom of her heart for saving the kingdom from this threat. She apologizes deeply for the disrespect he endured from the king and the former hero, stating that they had recently dismissed the hero due to all the problems he caused. She explains that they came looking for Phil because she wants him to come to the castle as their true hero, especially after the people have lost their hope. Phil apologizes to her, saying a significant task like this should be given to someone who won't hesitate to use their power for the sake of humanity. And that person is not me. Moreover, the life I am living now is the best life for me. My only wish is to live in peace with my wife. The scene then shifts to the home, where Bellari speaks to the group, saying, "We have been waiting for you to ask something. If you don't mind, we would like to expand our property. I want to take up breeding magical horse beasts, but I need vast lands for that." Bolusum adds, "I want to get more fields to plant a lot of vegetables. We could transport those vegetables in carts pulled by the magical horse beasts, so you wouldn't have to do any work." Reese comments that would be reasonable if you had immense power like Phil, but I can't imagine magical beasts obeying a weak species like humans. Shouldn't you be raising regular horses instead? Bellieri responds, "Taking care of horses isn't cheap. If I could let the magical horse beasts run freely in a large pasture, I believe they would become very peaceful." Phil tells them he will talk to the local lord. Bellari thanks him, saying, "But we want to handle the negotiations and purchase ourselves." Phil replies, "But the land is very expensive. Based on the cost of the previous land, you can expect to pay at least this amount." They are all surprised. Bellari exclaims, "It's that expensive even though we are so far from the capital." Phil explains that's right. When you have land as vast as ours, demons don't appear in this area, so land prices have risen. Bellerosa says, "My savings from working as a knight won't be enough. Maybe if I sell all my weapons." Phil reassures them, "Don't worry, I'll cover the cost. It will be part of this home in the end. I would be happy if you all took care of the additional lands." Then Fleo asks them what they think about the 30. They can pay 30 of the profits they earn as rent for the land. The girls get very excited and agree to the offer. We then see the girls plowing the land, and Reese tells them they seem to enjoy this more than their combat training. Fleo then suggests that if they are going to rely on selling vegetables, why not grow vegetables that are difficult to cultivate in this area? They can control the temperature to some extent using magic, and with some preparations, they can grow anything. Blossom refuses because that would mean relying on Fleo's magic to manage the farm. She initially wanted to create this farm to avoid being a burden and asks him to let her be independent. Haya approaches and proposes to help them as the servant of her master, so there would be no issue using her magic. She says the vegetables will thrive if they are grown with love, care, and plenty of sunlight. Blossom insists she does not want to use magic for anything. Haya responds that farming is quite inefficient when subject to the whims of the weather and suggests using magic again. Blossom gets very angry with her. Then, a girl named Belano appears and says she is eager to try it. Blossom asks her why she is wearing those clothes. Belano replies that she has decided to return to the Hutao School of Magic. Her friend asks if she plans to use magic again. Belano tells them that the school has welcomed her back as a magic instructor, not a student, and credits Fleo for teaching her so much about magic. Fleo approaches her and tells her that she is the one who worked hard to learn the magical arts. Belano thanks him and says she studies all kinds of magical books and dictionaries. She has realized that what she thought was only useful for combat can be very beneficial in everyday life. Then Blossom looks at Haya and tells her that she will allow her to use magic on a portion of her farm, and she will be responsible for it. The scene shifts to the farm, where we see Haya using her magic. Reese tells Fleo that she is happy to see the girls enjoying their time like this. Fleo then expresses his desire to establish his own shop in this world someday. Reese gets very excited and assures him that the shop he will run will be successful no matter what. She promises to tell all her friends to buy their goods from him, even her demon friends, so they don't cause chaos in the town. She looks at him joyfully and tells him that she's ready to do anything for him, so he shouldn't hesitate to ask. Fleo thanks her for her words and gives her a ring, explaining that he found a beautiful gemstone and made the ring out of it. He tells her it's an engagement ring and that he made a matching one for himself, which he wears on his hand. Reese agrees and Fleo puts the ring on her finger. She hugs him and tells him how lucky she feels to be by his side. The scene then shifts to the golden-haired hero in prison, looking angry and questioning why this has happened to him. Then we see the girl calling out to him, telling him that they will die if they don't escape from there. He becomes very agitated and demands that the guards release him from the prison because he refuses to die there. And that's the end of our episode for today. For more episodes to come, please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive notifications for all new content. Our episode begins with the knight Balarosa wearing a beautiful dress, unaware of her surroundings. Suddenly, a demon girl appears and welcomes her. Accompanying her is the demon king, named Gozul. Balarosa is extremely surprised as Gozul approaches her and informs her that they will be getting married soon. The demon girl adds that in celebration of this happy occasion, Demon King Gozul will dedicate his entire army to conquering the world and will present it to her as a wedding gift. Balarosa is very frightened and does not understand what is happening around her. Gozul tells her that he will offer her the whole world as a tribute to her beauty, confessing his deep love for her. Balarosa screams, saying she does not want this, then suddenly wakes up terrified from her sleep, realizing it was all a dream. She wonders why she had such a dream since she doesn't even think about the Demon King. She then screams loudly. The scene transitions to Balarosa and Reyes in the kitchen, baking delicious pastries. Reyes asks Balarosa how she is doing, noticing she looks pale. Balarosa replies that she is fine, but has not slept well and is having bad dreams. Reyes tells her that she believes dreams are a reflection of one's desires. For example, someone who loves another from one side might see the one they love in their dreams, turning it into a nightmare. Balarosa angrily responds, saying there is no such thing as love. Suddenly, the other girls arrive and ask Balarosa if it's possible she has fallen in love with the Demon King since he has visited her many times. Balarosa tells them that the Demon King came to visit Filio, not her, and that he holds a grudge against her for once raising her sword against him. She is sure he is waiting for the right moment to kill her. Blossom tells her that she could convince the Demon King to do anything and break the barrier between them, becoming friends like Mr. Filio and Reyes. Reyes then confesses that she is in love with Mr. Filio and that he loves her too, and they are more than just ordinary friends. The girls become curious about Reyes and Filio's love story and ask what noble quality attracted her to him. Reyes explains that it was his kindness and gentleness that drew her to him. At first, she always felt the urge to help him and get closer to him, and eventually, she became very comfortable interacting with him. Suddenly, Filio appears behind the girls, his face flushed with embarrassment. Elise tells him she wanted to be very honest with them about their relationship. Then, an alarm screen appears in front of Filio, informing them that someone has breached the magical protection barrier he placed around the city to keep out demons and monsters. Haya says she indeed senses the presence of demons. Filio tells them that the barrier hasn't been broken, but he needs to monitor the city closely. The scene shifts to a strange girl standing outside the barrier surrounding the city. Next, the scene transitions to the princess. Her aide informs her that most of the gold coins recently donated by Filio were actually raw gold coins issued by the castle. The princess recalls her conversation with Filio when he apologized for not being able to meet her demands, expressing that he didn't want to fight demons or humans. He then gave her a bag of money to help rebuild the city. Back to the present, the princess declares that raw gold coins will no longer be used among the common people. Her aide mentions that he gave the coins to a young man named Banaza, who was summoned here by mistake from another world and then exiled. The princess is startled and recalls that Banaza was exiled to the Delavica forest. The aide suggests that Banaza and Filio might be the same person. The princess is shocked and says, "Impossible. I can't believe this." The aide responds, "My lady, this is the reality. But what should we do now? Should we start by apologizing to Mr. Filio and seeking his forgiveness?" At that moment, a soldier rushes in and tells the princess, "Your Highness, the former hero and his servant have escaped from the dungeon and fled the castle entirely. I deeply apologize." She responds, "It's not your fault. Quickly, summon the guard team and search the entire city. Go now." As the soldier leaves, the princess talks to herself. If only we had made Mr. Filio our hero from the beginning, but there's no use in thinking about such things now. I supported the man with golden hair to be our hero, but he is untrustworthy and a complete fraud. The scene shifts to the soldiers searching for the deceitful hero in the forest. Meanwhile, the deceitful hero and the girl with him are hiding. Once the soldiers leave, the hero and the girl emerge from their hiding spot, having been running since they escaped the dungeon. The deceitful hero says all this was a mistake because of that useless fairy, as he puts his hand on his head. It's as if I've become a criminal now. The girl replies, we are criminals. We stole some things when we were trying to escape. She recalls the moment when they stole a magical bag full of jewels. The deceitful hero says, I didn't steal anything. I accepted this bag in place of the reward money they promised me. The deal was that once I completed my mission as a hero, I would get a reward to live a life of luxury. I think I was too lenient with them when I accepted just this magical bag. They should be grateful to me. As he thinks about examining its contents, he finds no money inside and becomes very angry. The bag contains a bottomless water container that transforms into a large table. Maybe we can sell what's in it to fund our escape, he suggests. When he opens a box, he finds a magical shovel. Just then, the soldiers spot them and rush towards them, but when they arrive, they find nothing. The hero and his companion are hiding underground, having used the magical shovel, which dug a hole in the blink of an eye. The hole is about 100 meters deep. The scene shifts to the Demon King's castle, where they are searching for Filio and his companions. The cat girl spy apologizes to the Demon King, explaining that her intelligence network is using all its resources to find him, but they might have fled to another country. The Demon King responds, no matter how powerful Filio is, his teleportation magic only allows him to travel to places he has visited before. This means he is still within the country. It hasn't been long since he was summoned to this world. It's impossible for him to have left the country so quickly. The Catgirl spy suggests, my lord, with your permission, I don't believe this is the right time to prioritize searching for him over advancing our army. Regardless of how strong his purification magic is, if we lead the magical beasts in an attack, we can fill the land with demonic matter again, eating a perfect path for our forces. If we move now and strike hard, we can overthrow the entire Clairud castle. If Clairud Castle falls, the humans' hopes will be shattered. The Demon King rises from his throne and says, I had forgotten that Filio can use purification magic. Even if we sacrifice magical resources to open a path for us, Filio is a man who can purify it all by himself. The priority now is to find him and his companions. The spy, Olimanaz, warns, but it will be impossible to silence those who oppose you if you continue like this. The Demon King approaches her, placing his hand on her head. She fears he might kill her, but instead, he apologizes for making her take on this task, affirming that he will not compromise his personal principles. He found no meaning in the forced sacrifice of many of their comrades for the sake of conquering humans. His aide tried to talk to him, but he didn't give her the chance. Later, the spy approached him and informed him about his brother's actions. His brother wanted to add a human to the Demon King's army and was not content with merely continuing their advance. The Demon King became furious with his brother, thinking he must have gone. The aide asked him to lower his voice, as Olimanaz's intelligence unit could have ears everywhere, but he dismissed this concern as illogical. She then mentioned that the human in question possessed the power befitting a hero. The Demon King responded that he didn't care if the human was a hero. They should just destroy him. He couldn't understand why they needed to befriend a human. Determined to seize the Demon King's throne from his brother, he decided that, as the true Demon King, he would send his forces to conquer Clairud. The scene shifts to Filio and Reyes as they stroll through the market. They bought everything they needed and even acquired rare foods from other countries. Reyes couldn't wait to cook them. Suddenly, Filio's barrier detected another breach, but everything seemed calm in the town. He suggested to Reyes that they go meet their friends for lunch since they still had some time. Reyes asked if they could visit the new restaurant that recently opened on Sukana Street, as she had heard it served delicious fish caught from the sea. Filio agreed, noting that he had also heard about this place. Given that most of Clairud is surrounded by mountains, it must have been quite an effort for them to obtain their ingredients. As Filio and Reyes were on their way to the restaurant, they encountered an elderly woman named Lady Holdy, the owner of a local shop. They saw her closing the store and asked her why she was doing so. She responded sadly that she had to close the shop she had worked in for many years because it had become difficult to find new supplies at her age. Filio was surprised by her words, as she used to have plenty of old stock. The old woman explained that during the last battle to defend against the demon army, the area where her favorite workshop was located was destroyed, and the transportation routes were now in poor condition. She believed that the end of her store had come. Filio and Reyes left, feeling very sad about the old woman's situation. They had no idea that the aftermath of the war had reached this far from the battlefield. However, they also noted the resilience of humans, as evidenced by the opening of new stores and the experimentation with new things. As they arrived at the restaurant, Balarosa joined them. She had heard that they were going to have lunch and wanted to pay for their meal. Reyes was annoyed because she had wanted to have lunch alone with Filio, but they didn't mind. Reyes didn't understand why Balarosa wanted to treat them to lunch. Balarosa explained that her rank in the Adventurers Guild had increased and her financial rewards had grown. Filio congratulated her, acknowledging that she had earned this money thanks to the training they had provided, and she wanted to share her success with them. At that moment, Haya appeared and informed them that she sensed the approach of someone with immense magical power. Indeed, Gozal arrived, having been searching extensively for Mr. Filio. Filio speaks to Gozal, saying, "I haven't seen you in a while." Gozal replies, "I came here because my intelligence unit reported strange magic in this area. I am pleased that this has brought us together again." He then turns to Balarosa, who is very surprised. Gozal tells her, "I was hoping to have an interesting conversation with you as well." Balarosa thinks to herself, "Were those dreams I had predicting the future?" When the food arrives, Gozal mentions that he enjoys human cooking because it is full of colors. "Before I ascended to the throne, I often came to places like this under the pretext of monitoring enemy movements. We have restaurants in the demon world too, but I cannot describe what they serve as cooking." Reyes tells Gozal, "Balarosa is very skilled at making desserts. I asked her to teach me so I could bake them myself, but desserts require precise measurements, which is difficult for me." Filio comments, "I see you have an interest in human culture." Gozal responds, "The flourishing of culture is proportional to its military strength." Balarosa then asks, "Are you monitoring enemy movements now?" Gozal replies, "I cannot deny that, as someone who is trying to recruit Mr. Filio. We are equals when it comes to trampling on the lives of others. Even if humans see our mere existence as demons, as a plague, that shouldn't be a reason for us to endure persecution." Filio responds, "We haven't found living with Reyes uncomfortable in any way." Gozal says, "I didn't expect you to know that." Haya the fairy explains, "The biggest difference between humans and demons is the presence of demonic matter in their bodies. Some demons and magical beasts can control this demonic matter, while others cannot. Those who can't control it release small amounts of demonic matter. When many of them gather in one place, it becomes polluted and harmful to humans." Filio adds, "Saibi and the magic horse beasts can control the demonic matter, so we don't need to worry." Gozal replies, "I wasn't worried, but this is a deeper issue than I thought." Gozal agrees, saying, "Yes, accordingly. Demons prefer merit-based rule, and many of them have sharp tempers. The slightest conflict tends to turn into aggression." Then, Gozal stands and says, "I apologize for making you all uncomfortable. Please enjoy the rest of your meal in peace. We will meet again soon." The scene transitions to Filio and his companions on the road. Filio thinks to himself, "I felt a kind of relief when I was summoned to this world and saw no discrimination against demi-humans." Along the way, they meet their friends. Brucel says, "We finished shopping," and they continue their journey home. Filio reflects further. The wall between humans and demons is actually more prominent and solid than anything in my old world. And thus today's episode ends. Stay tuned for the upcoming episodes of this anime. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell to receive all the latest updates. The episode starts with Fleo and his friends sitting at the dining table with a lot of delicious food in front of them. They start eating and find the food very tasty. Then Balarosa tells them that Reese is getting better at cooking every day. Reese thanks her for that and tells her that it's all thanks to her teacher, Meleno. Fleo asks her if she still goes to cooking lessons, and Reese tells him that she went to greet her teacher. She recalls her conversation with teacher Meleno, where she was thanking her because the cooking lessons helped her win Fleo's heart, and he proposed to her, and she wore the wedding ring. The teacher is very happy and tells her that she will teach her a dish suitable for families. Then we return to the present, and Reese tells them that the teacher also taught her how to prepare dishes for children. Then there's a knock on the door. Fleo and Reese open the door and find Princess Elizabeth in front of them. Fleo asks her what she is doing here since she rejected his offer to be the hero. The princess apologizes for the sudden visit and says she came to apologize to Fleo and to tell him that he is the hero candidate summoned by Baneza. Fleo and Reese are very surprised. The scene then shifts to Fleo and the princess inside the house where Bellarosa serves them tea. The princess thanks her and tells the girls that she has some private matters she wants to discuss with Mr. A. Fleo, everyone agrees to leave them alone except for Reese, who refuses and says she cannot leave them alone together. Fleo tells her that he will do anything she asks, but first, she has to allow his wife Reese to be present during the conversation. If she refuses, he will also leave. The princess agrees, and everyone leaves except for Fleo and Reese. Then the princess gets up, goes to Fleo, bows before him, and apologizes again for the injustice he suffered because of her. She also apologizes on behalf of the kingdom for the spells cast on the magical bag that they gave him as a token of gratitude and for exiling him to the Delaphiza forest. Fleo asks her not to apologize and to raise her head, saying that he is just a humble merchant. And these matters, such as having the authority to hold him accountable for distorting the true hero and appointing the false hero, and I will make the current king of Clarod abdicate the throne, so I would be very happy if you help me in doing that, Mr. Philo, because you can do so much and also help the weak, the poor, and the needy. But the king has done many things that should not have been done, and he has failed to provide assistance to the weak and has abandoned them. And I want to succeed him on the throne and save all our citizens. I need to show the same level of authority that the king has shown. At this, Reese stands up angrily and says to her, "So you mean you want to use my husband as a bridge to become the queen?" Philo then says to her, "Calm down, Reese. You need to be respectful in your speech." He then sits down again and speaks to her. "You want guarantees that I will not join the Demon King's forces, right, princess?" The princess is surprised by his intelligence, as he was able to uncover her plan so easily, since she shared such sensitive information with him, considering him as someone with connections to the demons. This pushes him to protect a region that has nothing to do with the war, ensuring that he remains uninvolved in those events. He clarifies to her that the princess never considered him as part of the kingdom's combat forces in this war. Then Philo asks her, "Did it never occur to you that I might share this information with the demons?" She replied, "Please consider this as the greatest proof of the trust I place in you, Mr. Philo. I beg you to lend us your strength this time. We need..." The scene then shifts to that warrior with the rooster warrior, and they say, "We lost them. They were holding a picture of the false hero and seem to be searching for them everywhere." They then move in that direction while we see the false hero hiding behind those trees after they emerged from the pit they were in. The girl with him said, "But I'm very hungry and want to go to the restaurant." So he told her that he couldn't take her to restaurants, otherwise they would be followed and caught, and then they would be beheaded. However, he had some cakes he would give her now. When she informed him that the food was running out, he told her to eat them and things would work out, God willing. At that moment, she started complimenting him, saying, "You are indeed a true hero. You have blonde hair and beautiful eyes, but this doesn't help us at all in this big predicament." At those moments, a black spider appeared and sprayed its web onto Sioai, binding her instantly, then sprayed its web on the false hero, causing him to fall to the ground. The spider then transformed into a strange girl with wings and said, "I came out looking for a sacrifice, but I found a handsome man." The false hero was very scared. The scene then shifts to Philo and Reese in the evening. Reese asked him if he had been thinking about what the princess had asked of him. He informed her that he had because he truly hated the idea of fighting, but he couldn't sit idly by knowing that there were towns that might be suffering. He also mentioned that he had been thinking a lot about what he should do in this big world. "If we ever have a child together someday, I want that child to live happily with both human and demon children. All are creatures of God, and I must create that world for them. I know it won't be easy, but if there is anything I can do to achieve that, I will do it, God willing." She told him that she knew for certain that he was capable of doing things that others might consider impossible. "There may not be much I can do, but I will help in any way I can." She then placed her hand on his, and he looked at her and thanked her for this great concern and this incredible love. Then the scene shifts to the next morning when a man was ringing the alarm bell and warning people that a huge army was heading to the northeast near the entrance of the forest. He advised everyone to be cautious as the Demon King's army was approaching, and they should stay as far away from that area as possible. Everyone left the place in panic. At that moment, the demon army arrived where a girl was playing in the forest. When a foolish demon tried to kill her, Fenrir and his companion rescued her at the last moment. He then set up a protective barrier around them to prevent the demons from entering and told her to run away. It seemed to be Philo in a mask, and Fenrir was actually Reese. Philo told the girl to run and leave the place immediately, and she fled quickly. Reese then spoke to Philo. remarking that he had accepted this difficult task without any reward, showing how kind he really was. Philo replied that if he had accepted a reward, it would mean he had sided with humans for money. "By doing this, I lost the moment I listened to her request," he said. Reese was very shocked and shouted, "Does that mean if you lose, you will marry the princess?" Philo assured her that he wouldn't do that. A demon then approached and asked them who they were. Philo informed him that they were the guardians of that town. He said, "If you agree to withdraw, we'll leave you alone, but if you intend to harm the people here, we will show you no mercy and your punishment will be very severe." The demons warned him not to underestimate them, claiming they were very strong and that he was just a weak human. Philo replied that he wasn't underestimating them but wanted to warn them. Reese then added that they couldn't break the magic barrier no matter what they did. At that moment, the Antichrist with one eye appeared. He was very large, and there was no other race in the Demon King's army with such physical strength. He also served Ugard, Gozal's younger brother. The one-eyed demon spoke and told them that they were no match for him and that they should leave or he would kill them all. Reese asked Philo to let her handle this task, as she wanted to fight him herself because it was very important to her. She told him not to intervene, no matter what, because she wanted to defeat him. Philo agreed and said he wouldn't intervene, but he didn't want her to kill the demon. She agreed and entered the barrier. The one-eyed demon taunted her, saying all she could do was bark and that she should shut up and let the magic barrier protect her. He then launched a powerful strike at her, but she dodged it easily. Except his evasion, he continued to attack, cutting down trees one by one while she evaded all his strikes, wounding and biting his legs and arms. He asked her if she really thought she could defeat him with such weak attacks. She replied that she could kill him with one blow but wouldn't do it. She explained that she was being very cautious because she didn't want to kill him. She had learned something new called self-control and mercy, which she considered the highest form of discipline and perfection. She told him he should be grateful to her husband. Then she used a high jump and flew into the air, activating a technique called place exchange. We saw the demon in the air, but he got very angry and threw the hammer in his hand. Reese was smarter than he expected and quickly switched places again, causing the hammer to hit his head. She then used gravitational force to bring him down to the ground and pinned his legs and arms with roots. She told him that true strength wasn't in muscles or the body but in the mind and intellect. She asked him if he still wanted to continue, though she considered it impossible. The one-eyed demon said she fought with the same rude methods humans used. She told him that this rudeness he spoke of was the only reason he was still alive. The demon got angry and called his followers to attack her, but Philo used his power to restrain them all. Philo then told her there was no need for further fighting. Then Philo used healing magic on the demon, who regained consciousness and asked him what he intended to do. Philo told him that all he wanted was for the demon and his army to withdraw. He could use teleportation magic to send them all to the Gabo de la Visa forest, but that wasn't a solution because they would come back again. So he wanted them to leave on their own without returning. The demon told him that such words were illogical and questioned who he was to decide their withdrawal. Philo replied that he was just a human who loved the demons Reese and married her, and he wanted to be their friend and not fight them. But if the army refused, he would resist them with all his strength. Philo then used a magic circle, which frightened the demon army, and they decided to retreat and leave. Then we saw Philo and Reese in her wolf form, very happy because Philo succeeded in making them leave. She remembered the past when she was training him in combat, and now that training had paid off. She asked him if this decision was the right choice in his opinion, since those demons would attack again as soon as they received an order. Philo told her that this was the best way to ensure they wouldn't return, but it would lead to increased hatred between humans and demons. Then some townspeople appeared and thanked Philo for saving the town. They asked why the wolf was there, and Philo reassured them, telling them she was his partner. The little girl approached and thanked them for saving her. Philo told them that they had come there on the princess's orders, so they should thank her first. Philo then climbed onto the wolf's back, and they left. The scene then shifted to the princess, where a guard informed her that they had received reports of an unknown adventurer appearing in various areas and expelling the Demon King's forces. This adventurer was accompanied by a silver wolf and wore a wolf mask. The report said he drove away the Demon King's forces and left without revealing his name, claiming that the princess had sent him. The princess was surprised and realized that the adventurer was Philo. She was very happy. The queen's assistant instructed all the guards to assist the adventurer and the wolf immediately if they saw them. The queen then spoke to herself, saying that Philo had accepted the task for her sake, and she would repay the favor later. The scene then shifted to Philo and Reese, and we saw the Demon King looking at them from above. Suddenly, A girl arrived and informed him that she had news from Lady Olimina's. Lord Yugard was planning a rebellion and had taken over the throne room with his closest aides. The scene then shifted to King Yugard and the girl Fufun, who told him that everything had gone as planned. Fortunately, they had chosen some humans with relatively high stats. When facing Lord Gol, they should execute the secret art borrowed from the evil sorcerer by spreading a magic circle for the super hybrid ritual. Even when facing Gol, they would defeat him. Then we saw that they had captured the prince with the yellow hair and his friend. King Gol was on his way to confront them, and thus today's episode of this wonderful anime ends. To watch more episodes, please subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell. Our episode this week begins with a visit from the Demon King to Fleo and Riss. Fleo asks him about the reason for this visit, and the Demon King tells him that he wants a favor, which is to allow him to live with them in the house for a temporary period. Fleo is very surprised, and Riss asks if he is joking. Fleo then asks why he is making this request and what happened to him. The Demon King then recounts what happened, remembering when he was standing on the hill and his aide came with news from Lady Olimina's that Lord Yugard is planning a rebellion and has occupied the throne room with his closest aides. We then see Lady Olimina's in the castle with 4 members of the Sky Kings from the Demon King's army. She asks them if they are sure of this news, and Yermine tells her that they will be witnesses to the duel between Yugard and the Demon King Gol. Olimina's becomes angry and tells them that their job is only to catch and imprison traitors. Yermine responds that they agreed to the duel in the hope that Lord Gal would open his eyes, as he has not been acting like himself recently. The rest of the members agree with her, and Hugai and Mogi tell her that the Demon King is always absent from the castle, refuses to advance the troops, and arouses everyone's suspicion. Olimis becomes angry with them and asks why they are doing this when Lord Ghoul has stood by them and helped them a lot in the past. They tell her that this is a completely different matter. Oliminas then asks Slib for his opinion, and he tells her that he is sure that Lord Gaul is worthy of the Demon King's throne. But since there are now talks of rebellion among them, it is necessary for Lord Gaul to prove his strength. They then leave, and we see the 4 kings in Lord Yugard's room, where Fovon welcomes them and says, "Welcome to the throne room." Yomenite becomes angry and tells her not to get ahead of herself, as Lord Yugard has not won the duel yet, and the throne still belongs to Lord Gaul. Fifovon tells her that the throne will soon belong to Lord Yugard, but the important thing now is that she will not allow any physical or verbal interference in the duel between Yugard and Ghoul, and that everyone must respect these rules. Illiminas becomes very angry. She then tells her, "Shut up, Fovon. Do you have any idea how much care and concern Lord Gaul has shown for them?" Fovon replies that she never noticed her presence at all because her presence is small and unnoticed. Leminus gets very angry and decides to attack Lord Yugard. When she tries to strike him with her hands on his head, her nails break, and Yugard tells her that she is very weak. He then hits her very hard, knocking her far away. Fovon tells her, "That's what you're good at, Leminus, only hidden tricks. We will not allow you to interrupt the duel every time." Suddenly, the Demon King appears with the girl Grayaniel and asks her to take care of Oliminus. Greganil takes her and disappears. Lord Yugard then tells the Demon King Ghoul that he has been waiting for him for a while and challenges him to a duel for the Demon King's throne. Lord Ghoul tells him that he has no intention of fighting a meaningless battle with someone like him. Yugard tells him that even his followers agreed to this duel and said that he had become so cowardly that he is no longer fit to be the king of demons. His recent foolish actions do not suit a Demon King. Lord Ghoul asks him which one of his actions he considers foolish. Yugard tells him that he repeatedly visits a human country to enjoy it, and not only that, but he also withdrew his entire army even though they were one step away from victory. Lord Ghoul realizes what he is saying and asks if he was the one who sent the army to march towards Clarewood without his approval. Yugard tells him he did and that it was impossible to waste such an opportunity. Lord Ghoul then tells him that in this case there is only one option left: to fight. Lord Ghoul begins to use his power to fight, and everyone is astonished by his strength. Suddenly Lord Ghoul stops using magic, takes the ring off his finger, and says, "I, the Demon King Ghoul, declare that I relinquish possession of the Demon King's seal," and gives it to Lord Yugard. Everyone is shocked by this action. Yugard becomes very angry and tells them that if everyone is upset and thinks he is not acting like a Demon King, he will easily relinquish his position and leave. Lord Yugard then attacks him from behind to strike him, but Lord Gaul deflects his attack, hits him towards the castle wall, breaks it, and he falls into the ocean outside the castle. Lord Ghoul apologizes to everyone and leaves. We then return to the present. and we see Lady Illuminus saying that they have become bankrupt and have no other place to turn to but them. Lord Fleo tells him that he agrees to his request, but that he needs to ask the other girls for their opinion. Suddenly, Lady Balarosa enters, and when she sees the Demon King, she becomes very frightened. Fleo tells her that she arrived at the right time, as he is considering allowing Lord Gaul and Lady Illuminus to stay with them in the house. Balarosa is very shocked by this and cannot respond. Lord Gaul speaks to her, hoping her fear of him will soon dissipate. Then, we see all the girls sitting in front of Lord Gaul, who asks them not to be afraid of him, as he is no longer the Demon King. He has relinquished the throne and left the army. The girls are very surprised, and he tells them that it wouldn't be right to live in the demon realm. When he decided to live among humans, Fleo was the first person who came to mind, so he came to him. Rhys then tells him that it was Lord Ugard who was responsible for the army's attack on Clairwood. Lord Gaul confirms that this is indeed what happened and assures everyone that he will never harm anyone. Lady Illuminus then tells them that this doesn't change the fact that he is a demon king and begins to joke around with the girls, scaring them. The girls become very frightened, so Fleo calms them down and asks Illuminus to stop joking and scaring them. Rhys then says, regardless of that, Illuminus, Lord Gaul is still the former Demon King. So how can he be bankrupt with you alongside him? Illuminus tells her that the intelligence corps she led left the demon army as well, and Lord Gaul gave them all his money when they left. Lord Gaul explains that the damage to his army was very minimal thanks to those people, so the money was a reward for what they had done. Illuminus becomes angry with him and tells him that because of this, Lord Ugard rebelled against him, and she sees no reason to show Gaul any respect due to his actions. Gaul tells them that he doesn't care about the methods of his predecessors. He took the throne from his father, and relinquishing it due to a lack of support is just a very natural result. However, there are still things he can do even without the throne. Just as Fleo stopped the conflict between humans and demons despite being an unknown adventurer. Fleo and Rhys are shocked that he knew about this, and Fleo tells him that regarding his stay in their home, he doesn't mind, but he doesn't know the opinion of the other girls. Everyone agrees that there's no reason to oppose this as long as they are all living together and he hasn't done anything scary to them. They can consider him just a tea-drinking companion for Fleo. Then Haya says she will be the shield or sword of the Supreme, being if necessary. Balarosa gets very angry at this because she doesn't want him to live with them. After all, he may have given up the throne, but he was the Demon King before, and the woman beside him is his closest aide. Rhys becomes very sad because now she has to expel her former boss and colleague, as they have no other home to go to. Fleo asks her to calm down because explaining the situation that way is coercion. When Balarosa sees her sadness, she agrees to let the Demon King stay in their home. Rhys is overjoyed because now the greatest power among the demons is on their side. Then we see Polisum working in the garden. Gozal comes to her and tells her that he can help her with anything she needs because this is a very beautiful farm to him. Polisum refuses his help, saying that the fairy is the only helper she needs. Gozal then goes to Bilano, who is feeding the horses, and tells her that he can help her train the horses as he is very accustomed to dealing with magical beasts. Bilano asks him not to get in her way, so Gozal leaves her and goes to Fleo. Fleo shows him his many armors and weapons, and Gozal is impressed by them. Fleo tells him that he makes weapons, armor, and various other goods to sell, and he asks Balarosa and her team to test the adventurer gear he makes, and then improve it as needed. When Gozal looks at the weapons, he finds dragon scales and tells him that using the defeated by the victor as a way to earn one's daily bread is the way of life here, and that was beside him who attacked him in the first place. Fleo falls silent for a moment. Then Gozal continues, saying that he feels like several spells have been cast on the armor, all thanks to the dragon scales. Their inherent properties are perfect for storing spells. If human soldiers or the Demon King used these armors, anyone would need a strategy before dealing with them. Fleo tells him that these scales are only for adventurers, and that the spells on them are not meant for large-scale battles. They continue their conversation, and in the background, Rhys and her friend watch Fleo and the Demon King, amazed at how well they are getting along. Since Gozal is no longer the Demon King, there is no problem. He seems more lively than when he led the demons. At night, everyone gathers in front of the house to have their meal, and we see everyone in high spirits except Balarosa, who sits alone, feeling sad. After everyone goes to their rooms to sleep, Balarosa stays awake, standing on her room's balcony. Rhys comes to ask her why she hasn't slept yet, suggesting they could eat some cookies together if she's hungry. Fleo speaks, saying that Riz was very worried about her because she seemed upset about being forced to agree to let Gozel and Illumina stay. Balirissa replies that since she's living with them, she has no right to speak up. She was just startled when the other girls agreed so quickly. Fleo tells her that he loves the life they are living now. He sells armors made from materials of the monsters they hunt to earn money. They eat the vegetables that Blossom grows in her fields. Belano and Saya take care of the magical beasts, while Belano and Haya study magic. Living together with mutual respect might be ideal, but it doesn't always go smoothly. Balirissa replies, "You're right, but I guess I'm not suitable for living here. I wanted to continue staying with you from now on, but I'm useless compared to the others. He might be a demon, but when he talks and laughs with us or eats the same food we eat with a joyful look on his face, he doesn't seem any different from us. I know the demons see us as aggressors, but I can't accept it. I may be a novice who has never set foot on a battlefield before, but among the knights, I have seen many tears shed over injured soldiers and others we lost. I know that man is not Evie, but I don't know if I can live and laugh with him under the same roof," Balirissa said. Fleo responded, "I think it's natural to feel that way. I'm sure all humans in this world reject demons to some degree, and some may reject them more than others. I don't think Gozel and Illuminus came to us just because they felt they had to." He said, "I think they intend to monitor this place. We have Yuzoihaye and Damalinash within Haya. This house hosts people who could be additional strength for any side." Fleo told her, "You need to let go of your grudge. Living together with mutual respect means accepting each other's ways of life, not forcing ourselves to be friends with everyone." Riz then added, "You reject the Demon King, but you have no problem with me. I was part of the demon army. In fact, I initially planned to feed all of you to my soldiers." Balirissa, astonished, said, "I can't imagine that. I've seen you in moments of weakness many times. I can't see you as an enemy to hate." Riz replied, "You are not useless at all. You were the one who taught me how to make this," as she handed her some food. Balirissa tasted it and liked it very much. She then said, "If anyone causes harm to humans in any way, I will make you regret it." Gozal responded, "You accepted to dine with us, but you want us to be aware that you are watching us." Illuminus added, "The scared, useless knight who was so terrified." Balirissa became angry because of this description, but Gozal thanked her for accepting him. The scene then shifts to the hero Fleo running and saying, "You deserve this, demons. We need to leave the demon territory. As soon as I enter the city, I will sell the jewels and gems I took from the demon treasury. I will stay in a good inn and take a nice, relaxing bath." Suddenly, Erighost appears behind them. This is how today's episode ends. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes, and don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell to receive all the latest updates. Meanwhile, in the Demon Lord's castle, Sui has called a meeting of the 4 generals to discuss their failures in the recent attacks. He wants to know how mere humans can repel the demon army, and the Goof Mommy Puff delivers her report. She says that the demon army is having trouble dealing with traps in their way, and they are not able to reach the human troops. Sui is furious because this problem never happened in the past, but Puff nervously withholds the reason from him. Sui then declares that they will break through the human forces. With sheer numbers, Puff says that they don't have that many people in their army, and Sui simply hits her away, telling her that it is her job to figure out how to increase their soldiers. He walks past the generals without saying anything as soon as he is gone. The 2-headed Phoenix says that with a commander who only knows how to march ahead, it is obvious that they are losing the battle. The other head adds that Gao always had a well-rounded strategy, and the Blue Demon says that the intelligence unit played the most important role in that, but they also left with Almana. The Centaur believes that the morale of their army is going down, and they must do something soon. Just then, the Goth Mummy descends from the hole in the ceiling and suggests that they organize a meet and greet to boost their morale first back in human territory. Fleo and Rise are in the market, and Rise has just won the jackpot in a lottery contest. She is super excited and climbs on Fleo because the jackpot was an all-expenses-paid trip to Hot Springs. She believes that she will get to spend some quality time with her husband there, but the shopkeeper gives her a reality check and says that the jackpot is a family voucher for the hot springs she can bring up to 15 family members or friends with her, and Rise asks the shopkeeper if she can exchange the voucher for another prize. In the end, Fleo and Rise end up taking the entire gang with them to the hot springs. Rise is not happy about this because she wanted some privacy on their first trip. Fleo, however, believes that they can use this chance to let everyone get acquainted with Gao and Mamana behind them. The girls are talking about the 7 hot springs in this town, with each of them having special properties. These include revitalization, skin beauty, magic recovery, and enhanced fertility. Among others, Rise gets alert on hearing about enhanced fertility and even imagines what she would name her and Fleo kid. She clings to his hand and eagerly speeds up. They soon reach the hot springs. They are supposed to stay at the staff. They welcomes them warmly and give them the robes to wear while they stay here while everyone is busy. Rise goes to a staff member to inquire about the fertility enhancing hot spring. The woman gives her a map that will lead to it and also wishes her the best of luck. The other girls are heading to the changing room and Muscle Mommy bumps into a big scary dude, who is none other than Sue. He is furious that someone bumped into him, but Puff is also there to take control of the situation, and she tells Muscle Mommy that everything is fine, so she should just go ahead. Sue is not happy with her attitude, but Puff reminds him that they are here to boost morale and deepen the bond between their officers after their recent defeats. She tells the new Demon Lord that he can't create a scene here, and he reluctantly agrees. The demon generals and other officers are also there disguised as humans and other races. So as to not raise suspicions, Puff warns everyone to keep wearing the necklaces that suppresses the poisonous gas. They release gas. Rise and Almanor recognize everyone and Gao wonders, why are they here? He wants to greet them as well, but Rise sternly tells him and Almana to not be seen by the demon army. She tells Gao that his meeting with Sui will definitely spell disaster, and she won't forgive anyone who interrupts her trip to the hot spring with Fleo. Soon, everyone enters the room allotted to them, but Rise grabs Fleo from behind, saying that they are going to stay in a separate room. Fleo blushes, and then he tells Go to take a separate room too. He has no problem staying in the same room as the girls, but they definitely have some problems. The girls have their plans and Rise tells Fleo that they should also take a dip in the fertility. Hot Springha wants to accompany them, but Rise gives her a death stare and tells her to not interrupt her today because it is the day she finally has a baby-making session with her husband. With that, she grabs Fleo's hand and runs away, and that gives Hea some ideas of her own. She enters her psyche world and greets the witch Dama. Dama asks her the reason she is here to see her, and Hea snaps her fingers, tying the witch up in a kinky way. Ha reveals that she's curious about the mating process that Fleo and Rise are doing, but since she is not allowed to watch it, she wants to learn about it by practice. For that, she wants Dama to cooperate with her. Ha gets on top of the witch, who nervously reminds her that they are both women and they can't exactly do the mating process between them. Hea lifts up her skirt, saying that she is a djinn and being gender fluid is just her thing. On top of that, greedy and reckless people like Dama are just her tight. This freaks out Dama, and she somehow kicks Hea from her own psyche world and teaches her an important lesson about consent. On the other hand, Rise and Fleo have reached the fertility hot springs, and she has already started to seduce him. She tries dragging him into the women's bath along with her, but in the end they end up going to the gender-separated baths. Fleo takes some time to relax, and then Rise knocks on the bamboo wall separating them. They begin talking about various things, and Fleo suggests that they should plan another trip with just the two of them and count it as their honeymoon. Rise is delighted to hear it and starts talking dirty to Fleo, which gets him in the mood and he runs out of the hot spring. Meanwhile, the archer has gone to a place alone to explore physical pleasure, but coincidentally, Hei is also there. Archer is taken back to see her there, and Hei informs her that she came to this place to get her partner to accept her. She tells the redhead that they should hurry inside and pushes her inside the door, which closes behind them, and some soft moans start coming out within seconds on another side. The rest of the girls are having fun drinking and eating, but Bailey is constantly keeping an eye on Gao. The muscle mommy nudges her to get close to Gao if she is so interested in him, but Bailey tells him that she is just making sure that he doesn't do anything. Bad muscle. Mommy calls out to Gaz, who remarks that this place is quite relaxing, and then makes Bailey blush by saying that she looks good in the robe. Almana seems jealous of her boss, paying attention to another woman, but unaware of that Gao accepts muscle. Mommy's offered to drink with her in another location, Sui, and his demon officers are eating. Delicious Food Puff decides to entertain them by showing them some tick. Uck moves, but Sui doesn't like it, so he just punches her away. Two demons decide to step up next, and their stint is to hit each other. However, they get a bit too into the role, and one of them drops his necklace that begins releasing poisonous gas. At the same time, The disgraced former hero and his servant have also arrived at the hot spring town after successfully escaping from the demon realm. The girl is tired and hungry, and the blonde scumbag shows her the jewels he stole from the demons, using which he plans to roll in luxury. The girl is not happy that they've become thieves on top of everything else, but he says that they deserve at least this much after their lives were in danger. Suddenly, some poisonous gas starts coming towards the magic gemstone he was holding, and the former hero gets a migraine. An explosion takes place in front of them, and one of the fighting demons comes out releasing poisonous gas everywhere. He is furious at his partner, who began attacking him seriously earlier, so he hits him with a powerful magic spell. Puff and others try to stop them, and the former hero's servant recognizes as the goof mommy who kidnapped them. She freaks out on realizing that they are demons. But another bigger problem is waiting for them as the magic gemstone absorbs enough poisonous gas. It suddenly vanishes and then appears on the former hero's torso. He screams in pain as more poisonous gas is absorbed, and then suddenly he loses consciousness and is transformed into a giant demonic monster back in the city. Bali approaches Almana to talk in private. She asks her if she wants Gaz to be the demon lord again, and she readily affirms. Oma says that no other demon is as strong or as noble as God, and someone like him should not be walking along with humans. Like this, Bali sees that man respects Gao too much, and she directly asks her if she loves him. Almana takes a couple of seconds to process that question, and in that time, the giant monster attacks the inn. Both Bailey and Almana freak out, but for different reasons, and then they notice the giant monster wreaking havoc at the inn. The staff tries to get the guests out safely, but then some boulders fall on the manager. Luckily, the boulders stop mid-air thanks to Fleo, who noticed the situation on time. He can't leave his place to inquire what is happening, so he asks Rise to do it for him. She immediately rushes to the inn on his command, and Fleo panics, as he asks her to at least put on some clothes first. Meanwhile, Bali and others wonder what is happening, and Gaz tells them that the giant monster is an accumulation of the poisonous gas released by demons. Almano reveals that they saw Su and his demon officers earlier, and they must be behind it. She uses her magic eye to see the gemstone that boosts the absorption of poisonous gas and makes anyone other than high-ranking demons go berserk under its effect. Bali wants to stop the monster and help the people evacuate, but Gaz stops her, saying that Fleo can handle everything on his own. Bali confronts him, asking if he intends to let Fleo carry all the burden on his shoulders. As always, she refuses to just wait and watch, while Fleo does everything and declares that she and her friends want to help him in whatever way they can. Bali and her friends, Leave and G, just smiles at their boldness. He says that even though Rise told them not to create a scene, it seems that they must do it now. He asks Almana if she is ready to get scolded with him later, and she blushes, because this is the first time he has asked her opinion on something like this. She tells Gaz that it is unbecoming of a demon lord to help humans, and he replies that right now he is just an ordinary person fighting to protect his vacation. He teleports themselves closer to the giant monster, and Rise also arrives there ready to tear apart whoever is disrupting her vacation. The demon generals notice Gao, and Sui immediately heads out to confront him. He lands in front of his brother and says that he was getting bored of the hot springs, so he is glad to find him here. He shatters his necklace and begins absorbing all the poisonous gas from the atmosphere to become stronger for their fight. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for part 12, and make sure to check out this brand new anime about a gamer who gets transported to a new world and becomes the strongest hero. The final episode of this amazing anime begins with Balirusa running towards the Demon King. Blossom appears before her and tells her she will evacuate the village. Balirosa says she will inform Mr. Leo about the situation. The battle between Gozal and Yugad then starts, showing each using their magical powers against the other. Yugad uses his magic to fly into the sky, and then employs toxic dust to confront Gozal. In response, Gozal uses his magic to counteract the toxic dust, enraging Yugad greatly. The scene then shifts to Fleo, who is approached by Balirosa, informing him of a sudden monster appearance that has begun rampaging. It seems that the Demon King Yugard and his followers are in the city disguised as guests at the resort. On her way to Fleo, Balirosa saw Gozal with some individuals she is certain are demons and suspects they are plotting against him. Fleo smiles and tells her that no one can conspire against him, and that if Gozal and his companion are there, everything will be fine. He states he will focus on protecting the building. The scene returns to the battle between Yugard and Gozal, showing Yugard controlling the toxic dust, which has formed into a monster. This monster grabs and wraps around Gozal's body. Gozal then uses his strength to pull the monster off and throws it down. He informs his followers that Yugard's power to manipulate demonic matter is very troublesome and that he could control all their movements. He also instructs them to keep the humans near the magical stone away. Res volunteers for this task, angrily saying, "How dare you ruin my trip with my husband to the hot springs? You will pay for this." Reyes uses close-range teleportation to get very close to the prince and princess. She then strikes the prince hard in the face, causing him to move away from the magical stone and fall to the ground. The stone breaks and the princess falls, but Gozal uses his magic to save her from hitting the ground, saying, "I promised everyone I wouldn't harm any human." Suddenly, Yugard appears behind Gozal and says, "What nonsense are you spouting?" Gozal then looks at Oleminas and tells her, "I will handle Yugard, and I leave the rest of his followers to you." Oleminas agrees and departs. Gozal asks Yugard if he is considering retreating from the fight, giving him one last chance. Yugard responds that he has no intention of retreating and will kill and cause chaos as he pleases. Yugard then uses magic with his hands to attack Gozal, but Gozal blocks the attack and tells him, "Since you are the Demon King now, I think you should do well to pay attention to your surroundings." This angers Yugard, who shouts, "Shut up!" and launches numerous strikes at Gozal, but Gozal evades all the attacks. The scene shifts to Lemina standing before Yugard's followers. She asks them what they are doing. One of the followers replies that they came here to enjoy the hot springs and have no desire to fight. They say if Gozal and Yugard want to fight, they should be allowed to do so. Fafon then interjects, "I won't let you, Oleminas, stand against my master Yugard," and the battle between them begins. The scene returns to the fight between Gozal and Yugard. Yugard delivers many blows to Gozal but fails. Gozal then uses magic to reflect his opponent's attacks back at him, successfully striking Yugard several times. Yugard is enraged. Yugard's body suddenly transforms, taking on the appearance of toxic magical dust. He hits Gozal in the face and grabs Gozal's head, delivering a powerful blow. Yugard says, "You're a failure and weak, Gozal." Gozal then grabs Yugard by the face and says, "Forgive me." We see magical energy emerging from Yugard's body, which shocks Yugard. He asks, "How did you take my power?" Gozal replies, "I have temporarily sealed it. It is the source of the demon's immense physical strength, and now you are no different from any human, Yugard." Gozal then tells Yugard that he mastered this spell to defeat the previous Demon King. It is a spell humans had initially tried to create because the previous Demon King oppressed humans greatly, which ultimately contributed to the destruction of demons. Next, we see the resort staff using magical fire papers, and the flames coil around Yugard's body. Yugard wonders what is happening as he is restrained and brought down to the ground, unable to move. All his followers are also restrained, leaving Oleminas puzzled about how this happened. The resort's head explains that the yukata worn by the guests are imbued with magic and are used in emergencies. She uses her magic again to send Yugard and all his followers into the sky. The scene shifts to Reyes standing with the princess. Reyes strikes the golden-haired prince, telling the princess she is doing this to remove the magical substance next to him. Suddenly, Balarosa arrives hurriedly and tells Reyes to move away immediately because Fleo is about to use a repair spell to fix the building. We then see Fleo using his repair magic on the building, restoring it to a pristine state, as if nothing had happened. Everyone helps clean the building. The scene shifts to the golden-haired prince and the princess fleeing from the townspeople. The prince creates a hole in the ground, and they both descend into it, escaping from everyone. The scene then shifts to the head of the resort, who thanks Fleo for repairing the building. Gozal apologizes for his brother Yugard's actions. The head assures them that they can now enjoy their time at the hot springs safely, and everyone will attend to their needs. Res is overjoyed, as it's finally time for her to enjoy herself without any incidents interrupting them. We then see all the girls taking a relaxing hot bath, and Fleo and Gozal are also soaking in a hot bath. Fleo mentions how happy he is to see the girls so content. Gozal agrees, saying that the hot springs play a big part in that happiness. He is sure that a beautiful place like this brings joy and helps the mind relax. Fleo then remarks that he never imagined a time would come when he and Gozal would be in a hot spring together. Gozal replies that from their first meeting, he was certain that Fleo was a very interesting person. You have been very brave, fellow. Enough to remain calm and composed in my presence, not using your incredible power for your own purposes, but instead fostering peace between humans and demons. After all, humans and demons are both creations of God. If you and I combine our strengths, we might be able to build a good relationship between the two races. This is what came to my mind. I hope the idea is clear. Philo replied, "You give me more credit than I deserve. I am not that impressive. I know very well that I possess enough power, but there is no power or spell that can end the fighting in this world. Nothing will change if we rely solely on magic." Then the former demon king asked, "What, in your opinion, will bring about change then? Is there a particular way to change things and make a difference?" Philo responded, "I don't know anything specific, but I have met new companions whom I can trust in this world. I intend to borrow their powers to do what I can." At that moment, the demon king stood up, shook Philo's hand and said, "I am with you, Philo, in everything. I will lend you my power and authority to unify humans and demons so that peace and safety." The scene then shifts to a dining table, which was exceptionally splendid, even luxurious. Everyone was very happy as they started eating. Reese received a special gift, a pie made of eel, which would grant her a lot of energy. Everyone drank hot and delicious beverages. Balariosa approached Gozal and, to his surprise, said, "It's unusual for you to come so close to me this way. What is it?" She thanked him for what he had done earlier, as Lady Reese had told her everything. City, he had done everything he could to protect humans from harm. He replied, "That's true. I cannot break a promise I made to you." Everyone then rejoiced and spent wonderful hours together. The scene transitions to night, where the moon was shining brightly and the sky was clear. Everyone was fast asleep. Reese checked on them and then went to her husband Philo, saying, "Everyone is sound asleep." He replied, "Indeed, my dear, a lot happened today and everyone is exhausted." She sat beside him, resting her head on his shoulder, and they gazed at the beautiful sky. Reese shared her thoughts about humans. After some contemplation, she said, "At first glance, humans seem much weaker than those with fangs. However, among humans, individual superiority is not determined by military prowess. I still remember the day when a lot happened. I dropped my fork while eating the dessert that Bailiosa had prepared for me. My body trembled with fear, but Bailiosa smiled at me as if nothing had happened. It's difficult for me to express what I think about humans, but ultimately, I don't consider them my enemies. I've grown used to them and lived among them. In fact, they are somewhat dear to me." She then looked at Philo and asked, "But why are you asking me about this?" He told her that he just wanted to know her feelings because the battle between humans and demons might worsen from now on. If that happens, he plans to protect the town to ensure that many people do not get hurt. He asked Reese to help him in his mission, saying, "If you stay by my side to make sure I don't overdo things or favor humans too much, I know I'll manage without making any mistakes." She replied, "All right, my dear. If that's what you want, I will follow you wherever you go. I am your wife before anything else, and we need to ensure our son has a safe life." The next morning, we see Philo and his friends walking together. One of her friends comments that she is in a good mood today. Philo then teleports them back home. Blossom then speaks, mentioning that today is the first day Belano will be studying, so she wants to prepare lots of delicious vegetables for when she returns home. In the classroom, Belano talks about how she has little magical energy and a limited number of spells she can use. However, someone patiently taught her many spells, and she intends to teach everyone each one of them. Meanwhile, Haya is gathering crops with her magical energy. Her friend suggests she taste one, and upon doing so, she finds it delicious, even though it was grown using magic. The rabbit is also happy with it, and she remarks that this will make the townspeople happy as well. At the same time, we see Philo and his friend making weapons. Yoluminas asks them if they are opening a weapon shop or something. She tells them that humans might not want to use weapons and armor made by the former demon king. Lady Balariosa then arrives, and Philo asks her how her hunting went today. She replies that it went very well and thanks him for the shield he made for her. She mentions that today is the princess's coronation. Philo comments that the castle town must be bustling now, and they hope the demons don't advance during this time. The demon king assures them not to worry because Ugard will take a long time to regain his strength, and they will have peace for now. At the castle, we see the princess during her coronation ceremony. She asks the minister if they have located her father, but he replies that they have not yet. She expresses confidence that he fled when he realized his terrible deeds would be exposed. She says it saddens her because he is her father, but she insists they keep searching for him so he can be tried. She cannot waste the opportunity Mr. Philo has given her and vows to rebuild the kingdom no matter what it takes. Then we see the knight searching for the false hero who, along with the maid, has dug a tunnel to escape. The maid cries, thinking all she will ever do in life is run, but the false hero interrupts, telling her not to say that. He assures her that one day he will be accepted as a hero for sure, and he will not let things end this way. Later, we see Philo and his friends after dinner. He reflects, "I came to this world alone. In the beginning, survival was all I could manage, but now I have many friends and a new dream, all thanks to my dear wife." He then calls out to her, saying, "If we open a shop one day, we'll sell the sweets you make." She thanks him for believing in her and remarks that their dream is growing day by day. Thus, the first part of this wonderful anime ends. Stay tuned for the second part coming soon. But before you leave, please subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any updates.